and hope you're well. This is a impromptu stream in a place called Leatherhead, just south of London, and I've got some chalk. So it's not very busy at the moment. I'm kind of hopeful that this is a good location. I might reconsider my position at some point, because I see some up the street there. I see some scaffolding that they could use. Just really want to be where the footfall is at, and I felt like this little junction here would have a decent amount of footfall. So let's break out the chalk. Andrew and I are offering a group coaching session. It's 4 2-hour sessions over 4 days, course of a week, from the 15th of August. So please check out my link tree, which will be in the comments section. All the information is on that. How to join, it's £69, which is, as these things go, basement prices, but we're really keen to encourage people to get involved, particularly in the Truther community. It's one thing to know that the world is designed to mislead us. It's another thing to move through that deception and get back to the heart, back to love. It's really love. I think the mission is. This is my new banner, which is a very prominent chart and use of the Sanskrit symbol, which means, well, it means connection, love, oneness, so on. But I think I need to get the chalk down. There's not a huge footfall at the moment, but once we get that chalk down, it'll start to get people to stop. For various reasons, they will stop. Bear with me, this one's stuck into plastic. Tomorrow I'll be at Speaker's Corner. This is a new chalk I got from Asda. Not that not as good as the other one I normally use. I think all chalks were made equal, but that's apparently not true. Dave Murphy said he would be keen to come down to Speaker's Corner sometime in August, so I'll just let him know that I'll be there tomorrow. If he's free, he'll come. Hear that? Hey mate, Earth is flat, not a spinning ball. NASA,
Alright.
NASA fake space. All the different colour. I was getting a picture for his social media. Stories. If you're listening in the live, just hit the thumbs up. If you don't mind. And if you've got a few shekels that you got, a few coins that you got spare, you can always buy me a coffee. Support my work. Good day, sir.
We're not too close to the edge here. I don't want to drop off.
Well, how can you fall off the edge?
Well,
Have you
it's
never
flat.
Have you never been to a lake, sir?
Yeah, well, that's right, but I'm
Water
fall
must-
in that.
Water must be contained. Yeah?
Well, you think this is all water?
We were brainwashed to believe that we would fall off the edge if the earth was flat.
Yeah,
But actually, when it comes to sea level,
yeah,
we find that every mountain on earth
yeah,
is measured above sea level from
Yeah.
the same mean sea level.
yes.
So if you take a lake that's a mile across and it's measured with a laser to be perfectly level, and we all know
it's not.
instinctively that it's level.
It's not level.
You don't believe it's level?
No, because it's the curvature of the earth. It must follow that with the
With
what's it all that keeps it all together? I can't even think.
Gravity.
Gravity. Yes.
yeah. Do you know what the formula is for curvature on the globe?
No, I don't know.
No, none of us got taught that. 10 years ago, I came across the formula and I started putting that into my life experience. You've had a lot of life
Yeah, but
experience, sir?
if you go walking up there and keep walking, you come back here, wouldn't you? Because you'd go via wherever.
Well, if you went on the M25, you'd go right around London, wouldn't you?
Well, quite, but I mean,
Yeah.
forget local stuff. But if you keep walking that way, and you end up in India probably, and follow it all the way around, and you'll come back here.
Have you done that?
No. I
okay.
rarely go for a walk like that. But
None
I'm,
of us,
but
none
I-
of- yeah, none of us. have
so
done
I
that.
mean, yeah, they do it in a plane regularly.
Yeah.
So it's got to be round, doesn't it?
Let me come back to the formula for curvature. If we live on a sphere, then that sphere has to be bending.
Yeah.
And the best way to measure that bending would be over water, because when we look at photos from so-called outer space, we see a round ball, don't we? Or
Normally, yeah.
So what is, we haven't agreed what is the formula for this curvature.
No, but how is it relevant?
Well, because if we're claiming that a 1 mile lake has got curvature, then a scientist should be able to go out and measure that and say, look, here's the 8 inches of drop or whatever it is. So the formula for curvature is 8 inches per mile squared. This is Pythagorean.
Yeah.
This is what the globe, once you look into it, you go, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Do you mean that at 10 miles,
Yeah.
there's 800 inches of curvature?
Yeah.
This is what the globe demands.
Yes.
That at 10 miles, there's
Yeah.
800 inches of curvature.
Uh-huh.
Now we can take a high-powered camera and zoom in on a little yacht at 10 miles away on
Yes,
a clear
yes,
day,
yes, yes.
and that yacht is still on a level body of water. Now I'm sure you've sailed, or rather flown a lot in your
Yeah.
lifetime.
Correct.
I've flown over the Mediterranean Sea,
Yes. Yeah.
and on a calm day you can see ships for 100 miles around you,
Yes.
and they look like they're on a flat lake,
Of course they do. Yes.
because that is what we experience in the world, is that water is actually level, not curving or bending down. What we're taught when we're 7 years old is that We live on a spinning ball.
Yes.
And the water is attracted by this thing called gravity because the teacher's pencil fell to the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah.
And that means we have to believe that rivers are running up the side of Africa and that underneath the globe there are ships sailing to Australia
Yeah.
that are not falling off because of this magical force called gravity. And that when they leave Australia,
Yes.
they're coming back uphill.
Yes.
Or South Africa, they're coming back uphill.
Yes.
Now I've taken a digital spirit level onto a plane and I've measured that and I've found that the flight is keeping its nose at 1.5 degrees pitch up for
Yes.
the entire flight.
Yes.
There's nothing in your body or in our measuring system, the gyroscope or anything like that would say, no, you've started at this point at Heathrow,
Yes.
and which was this level.
Yeah.
Now you've got to South Africa and now you are 90 degrees from that original perpendicular. Nothing. Other than this idea, and of course NASA, who tell us that they've been to outer space. But there's plenty of NASA astronauts who said we've never been there, including a Polish astronaut and Buzz Aldrin, who said to an 8-year-old girl famously in 2015, we've never been.
Yeah, but you don't believe this fairy stories, do you?
Well, I can measure
Don't
water.
make Father Christmas.
Well, the globe is like Father Christmas because I can measure water to be level. I've gone and tested this. In Guinness World Records, the longest photograph is 400 kilometers. And 400 kilometers is an impossible sighting on a globe according to this 8 inches per mile squared, because by the time you get to 400 kilometers, you're talking about a mile of curvature.
Yeah.
You know the Suez Canal, right?
Yeah.
It's 120 miles long. If we were on a globe, that would have to bend by around 10,000 feet. But of course it's engineered level and it's measurable as
But
level.
then why can't I see China if I stand up on that roof?
How far away is China?
Well, about 12,500 miles.
Okay, so we can't actually see Big Ben from here. because
Well, you
of-
could if you're standing up high enough with a telescope.
Well,
Me up
yeah.
onto Sainsbury's.
All right, wait, I'll be outside.
Well, yeah. Well, everything goes as the train or the ship or whatever goes off into the distance. We know intuitively that it's going to get smaller.
Of course.
It's not getting smaller; it just appears smaller.
Yeah, it
because
does.
of
That's right. I
perspective,
agree with you. Yeah.
So using firstly the point of perspective, we're not going to see Eiffel Tower from here, even on a super clear day, because it is too small to be seen.
yeah, but
However,
if you got a
a
powerful
man-
enough telescope, you would be able to, wouldn't you?
I haven't seen that, but a man has gone up to the highest point in Wales and taken a photograph and captured the Alps, and he's been able to identify 7 of the peaks of the Alps in his photograph, which
Yeah.
is 700 kilometers away.
Yeah.
Now, this is obviously, in order to see something from a distance,
Yeah.
it needs to be big. So when you approach a town, the first thing you see is probably the spire of the cathedral
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
it's normally the tallest thing, which
Of
is why the
course.
crow's nest is at the top of the
But then
ship.
that proves the point that it's round.
No, this is
Because
about...
you'd be able to see the base, never mind the height.
Well, that's angle of resolution. So let me give it to you like this. If you went to a bowling green,
Yes.
an outdoor bowling green, or maybe something that was longer but
Yeah.
provably level,
Yeah.
and then you put a camera or your head right on the floor and got your wife or somebody to walk away from you, they would disappear from the ankle up. The moment you stood up, well, you'd be able to see them all again. You see?
Yes.
So when I go up to, say, Box Hill,
Yes.
I can see distances that
Some
are
distance.
impossible
Yeah.
from when I'm low down.
Of course.
Yeah?
Why?
Angle of resolution.
Not because of the curvature.
No, we can't measure any curvature. See,
Look, I've got to go and see her.
well, good luck, sir.
But the best of luck with life.
yeah.
It's it's colourful. The fact we
Yeah.
got different opinions.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
All the best. All the best. There's my banner. Now that gentleman is obviously a lifetime into the belief of the ball, and he may have even been old enough to have seen the moon landing on TV. So you're not going to convince, and of course, it's really not about convincing, but it is about putting it on people's radar. Because there will be those people who go, oh, I don't trust the system anymore. We got misled in 2020. We did not have 2020 vision. pleasant enough conversation. It's nice when we can agree to disagree. Is, as I said, if you can, consider supporting my ongoing efforts. I'll be in Speaker's Corner tomorrow. Mark Swarbrick kindly sent us $20 last week after last week's effort, and Karen B got us 3 coffees on the coffee app. So grateful for that. You see how the conversation is slippery. It's kind of hard to hold him. You know, it's part of a challenge, really, isn't it? Hard to hold them on the point. Like, okay, so curvature. You don't know what it is. Like it's clearly bending. As I said earlier, we are doing a 4-day workshop for people to begin to work through some of the external traumas in order to get back to the heart, back to home is what we call it. Water. I went for a run this morning. My legs are a little bit stiff. Water. Hopefully I'm not going to get overzealous plods today. As we saw on Sunday. You know, and it's kind of, they can make it up as they go along. Oh, no, it doesn't suit me. Water always levels. Have you ever heard the term?
Levels? I thought leaves.
No, level. Water is level. We say sea level, water level.
Oh wow.
You know,
Nice.
if
Nice
you're,
writing.
Oh,
Well
thank you.
done.
Thank you very much.
At lever.
What happened to your ankle?
It's not my ankle. It's his leg. He broke playing ball.
Ah, bowls.
Football.
Oh, football.
Yeah.
You know what, young man? You play football with a ball on a flat pitch. Just because we think we see balls in the sky doesn't mean that our pitch is flat, a ball too.
Yeah.
Good luck with the break.
Thank you.
Have you heard of arnica?
Annika, no.
You should look into arnica to help him heal faster.
Yeah.
You can take it orally, and it's a natural product.
Annika.
Arnica, A-R-N-I-C-A. And it's an unbelievable, you see ladies who've had babies and stuff like that talking about how it helped them get over their wounds and healing and blah, blah, blah. But for internal swelling and so on, A-R,
Oh, 1 second, darling.
A-R, arnica,
Oh.
N-I-C-A, arnica. You can put it
Arnica
topically.
cream.
Yeah, but that's the cream is for the outside. But what you're looking for is the tablets that he can take orally, because getting it into the body is with a broken
Oh.
leg is what he needs.
Oh, thank you so much. You're
You're-
very kind.
You're welcome.
Your accent. Where is your accent from?
South Africa.
South Africa.
Perhaps you'll take my flyer
Oh, thank
in
you.
return. But I promise you, you'll use it. Your family will
David!
use it. Yes.
Lolita.
Lolita, lovely to meet you. Where are you from?
Have a guest.
I'm going to say Poland, but
Very
maybe,
close.
um,
Lithuania.
Lithuania. That was the next one that was going to come up. Honestly,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I'm a Gaia's lover. I love
Gaia?
Mother Earth.
Mother Earth. Me too. Me too.
I absolutely adore her. She's amazing.
And this is our most important thing: is that we need to look after ourselves, and we need to look after Mother Earth. You know,
Oh,
that's
Mother
what we're
Earth
here
is number
for.
one because she
Well, you're
protects
number
us.
one because if you're broken, how can you look after the earth? And
Oh, well, it's a good.
And so, you know, when this world tries to poison us with all sorts of stuff, you know, and that make us sick in watching too much
Okay.
TV, blah, blah, blah. And so looking after yourself first, and then obviously we should do both at the same time.
Absolutely.
We look
I
after
agree
our
on
Mother
that.
Earth, and
I
the Mother
agree on
Earth will
that.
look after us, you know, and
Because
nature
if
will
she
take care
doesn't
of us.
protect us, you're not there. She doesn't give you oxygen. She doesn't feed you.
Absolutely.
She doesn't give you
Absolutely.
shelter. You can't be well.
Absolutely, but she gives us food. Yes.
gives us everything.
However, we go to the supermarket and the GMO food now because we
Oh,
don't
it's
live.
horrible.
Yeah, but
It
in
is.
Lithuania, you know, I think there would
We
be
are very
people
organic.
much more organic. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I wish level of well-being will be the same as here.
Yeah.
Then I will
You'd
not
be
live
super
here.
happy here. Yeah.
I'll be back home with all my family, but
Yeah.
because life is better here.
Yes.
But maybe
But
one
there's
day.
yes. Well, once you look into this stuff, you realize there's a trick being played on our
Logo.
economies to make it difficult in beautiful places like Lithuania.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe
So
one
look
day
into
I will
this.
retire. One day.
Yeah. All the best.
I'll
Good
keep
luck
in
with your
touch.
leg.
Thank you so much.
You can
You're
always
very
email
kind.
me. All right, all the best. Bye. There you go. That's from Lithuania. It's very quiet here. I was expecting a little bit more footfall. It is now midday, I think. Let's see if there's a clock somewhere. Oh, there it is. And that says 20 past 20 to 3. That clock up there, which is obviously wrong. That was a lucky strike, getting that lady to take a flyer, given the Arnica information. And if you're listening and haven't come across Arnica and have internal healing or even external healing, then I would highly recommend it as an all-natural product. Earth is flat, helium floats because gravity is fake. Contextual. Let me say hello to the chat. Big up Arnica, yeah. It's very seeing music here. He's still using the lines as a Thanks, Alex. And I appreciate you. Let me say hello. I appreciate you putting my flyer for the workshop onto your Facebook page. I do appreciate that. Earth is flat, Leatherhead, not a spinning rock in space. Rocks don't float. Gravity is a hoax, just a theory designed to make us believe we live on a marble in the vacuum of space. We are the center of creation, the center of the universe. So, let me put a bit more chalk down. Yeah, thanks, Alex, for that. I appreciate it, and I hope you and Shelley are well. And the menagerie of pussycats that you maintain. NASA equals Disney.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Would love to come back to Spain this year, but it isn't yet viable. My car is due for MOT in 3 days' time, 4 days' time. I don't yet know how I'm going to pay for it. So there's certainly no travel prospects in the immediate offing. However, if we get flooded with 69s, people signing up for our 4-day workshop. Oh, he's a little beetle. Yeah. If people sign up and and their droves, and it would be really a good investment in yourself. Yeah. I've got a flyer to go with that information.
This is Earth is flat. You think Earth is flat?
I know it's not a ball. We've all been brainwashed to believe it's a ball from when you was 5, 6 years old.
I don't think we've been brainwashed though.
Yeah. Yeah, hello, your friend. Yeah. Oh yeah, we've all been brainwashed. I see you're a Christian. Are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the Bible, you know, the Old Testament says that the earth was hammered out like a plate or a stamp.
Yeah, but don't you think we'd like spin off? No.
We're not moving.
You
You
don't.
see,
You don't
that's
even think we're moving.
the crazy thing about the globe is that, do you know how fast the globe is spinning?
How fast?
1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound. And so if we were spinning it like a merry-go-round at 1,000 miles an hour, you would definitely spin off. Gravity, this theory, which is so weak,
Yeah, but then-
would not hold you down.
Why is the sun circle and the moon circle and like round?
Circle,
But-
yes.
But no, but like round, as in like a ball.
We don't know
But
that
Earth
they're
isn't.
balls. Well, we don't know that they're a ball, but just
Yeah, but they
because...
spin and you can tell that the moon spins and you'd
Okay.
see it flat at least one point, wouldn't
Okay,
you?
let's just accept for the sake of argument that it's a ball up there. A football is round, right?
I suppose.
Yeah, but the football pitch is not. Yeah, it makes much more sense to have. Makes much more sense to play football on a ball, on a pitch than on a ball. You know? So just because we think we see balls in the sky, which I don't think that they are, they're more circular. It's a circle. But even if it was a ball, it doesn't prove that the Earth is a globe.
Yeah, but like, why would they lie and say that it's round and it's not?
To control us.
To control us from thinking that the Earth's round?
Well, there's a couple of theories as to why they're doing it, right? One is that there's more land on the flat Earth. There's possibly more land that they're hiding from us, other continents. The other one is
I've seen that on TikTok.
You've seen that on TikTok.
I actually kind of believe that one.
Okay. And the other one is that actually you are the expression of God, and they do not want you to know that. They want you to think that you are insignificant, come from a monkey, evolved over billions of years. This Earth happens to be one of many Earths, and there's higher civilizations and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's really about controlling your mind. Because if I can control your mind, I can control your body, I can control your life. And I can make sure that you become a good slave within this corrupt system rather than becoming the master of your own destiny, which I believe we're meant to be. I think Jesus was saying that, is that you will go on and do greater things than I. God says it in the Bible that you're created in God's image, right? We're not monkeys. We're not evolved. And so this Big Bang, which they tell us is how we came to be here, is all made up to kind of demean God. So I believe it's about demeaning God. I know you're a good Christian or you go to church on Sundays and all that sort of. I'm not making any judgment about that. But I came from that same background and felt that we were insignificant because I believed in the globe for 45 years. I believed in all of that monkey. We evolved from monkeys rather than we are the center of the universe. So on my flyer here, I say, discover Flat Earth because it's to free your mind. Flat Earth is just a gateway. The deception that we live on a globe is really the first step into freeing yourself and freeing your soul. Because I think that we are souls having an experience here on Earth, and we're meant to free ourselves. We're meant to free ourselves from the deceptions of this world. You know, like in the Bible, it said that this is Satan's world or it's a fallen world and all this sort of stuff. Well, if it's true, then how is Satan expressing itself but by deception?
Yeah, true.
And the deception that I see demeans, as I said, demeans God. And that's why I spend my time going around the country trying to tell people, hey, just look at this as a starting point to go, whoa, there's more to who I am. And that's all that Flat Earth is like, it's a starting point. Because at the end of the day, the Earth is what the Earth is, right? It doesn't necessarily change your day to day, but it really does have an impact on who you realize that you are through your life. You're young now, but who you realize you are in your life is fundamentally different once you understand this truth. On my flyer is an app there is an app which is $3. And I'm not trying to sell you that, but if you want the best information that we've been able to collate over the last 10 years since this Flat Earth started becoming popular or well known, you'll find it on this app. You can go and check the app out. You don't have to pay for it. Or you can check out my stuff on my YouTube channel and, just keep an open mind. Don't make any prejudgment, but realize this, that water is measured level. We cannot find water that bends when it rests. A teardrop is bending, yes, or is a bent little bubble of water. But once the water lands on the ground, it's going to pool, and that pool will be level, no matter how big the pool is. There's a lake in Russia called Bilikol. It freezes over every year and they ice skate over it. And it's 300 miles long, provably level. But according to this formula of living on a globe that's 25,000 miles in circumference, all this sort of stuff, we should be bending like at, hundreds of meters for every, 10 miles or whatever you travel. And we can't measure that. When I first found it, it was the idea that, wow, I can't prove that the water is curving. And we can't prove that the Earth is spinning. There's no science experiment that proves the Earth is spinning. They'll say Foucault's pendulum is the proof of it and so on, if you've heard of that. But actually, there's no scientific experiment that says, yes, we're traveling and in this direction. Your body senses say you're not moving. But when you're 6 years old and teacher says to you, if you want to get A in class, you've got to believe that we are spinning, even though you can't measure it.
So you don't believe like people's gone to the moon and not seen it, no?
Definitely not.
You don't believe that?
No. Even some of the astronauts have said that we never went. And then when you look into it, I used to believe in the moon landings, but when you look into it, you don't believe we went?
No.
Okay. Well, you see, in Psalms 19:1, it says, God showeth his handiwork. There's a firmament, there's a roof over our head. And the guy who was the lead on the Apollo moon landings, on his tombstone, he's got Psalms 19:1. God shows his handiwork. And the Old Testament says, it's a firmament, it's hammered out like metal or some kind of impenetrable barrier. So we can't get out of this place. We're kind of in a cocoon or a bubble, and we can't leave it. It might be 100 miles high, I don't really know. How does the sun and the moon work in that case? Well, we're trying to understand that because we're having to learn our science all over again. But to keep it simple, just for a quick conversation, to say that the sun is local, it's small. What you see in the sky is a small round thing, and you see a small moon. They're both the same size because they're both about the same distance away.
Yeah.
And they are shining. If you think about it like a football stadium, take one lamp in a football stadium and it's only bright enough to illuminate half of the stadium at any one time, and then take 24 hours to move it around that stadium. Then some people will be in daytime, some people will be in nighttime. And that's how, to put it simply, how the sun and the moon are working.
Yeah.
And here's something that you and your friends can test for yourselves. Like, let's say we're a new moon today and tomorrow, but in 2 weeks' time we'll have a full moon. And it doesn't need to be on a full moon, but it works really well on a full moon. It's normally cloudy, and when you go outside of your own home and look up at the moon, you'll find that the moon is illuminating like a circle of light around where you live.
Yeah.
It's super bright, but as you look down into Dorking or wherever your friends live, you'll find that it looks dark there, like the clouds are not lit up. If your friend lives in Dorking and you ask her to go outside and have a look at the moon now at the same time, she'll say it's light where I am but dark where you are.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
So you think that's moving it around?
No, I think that it's unique to each of us. So the observer is kind of picking up that light, and and how it works is more probably akin to a wave that your brain is interpreting as a light form. But it is a great point for you to consider over the years ahead to go, yeah, that guy was right about that. I can only see it lighting up my area, not 10 miles away. However, my friend who's 10 miles away is saying it's only lighting up her area and not where I am. It looks dark according to her where I am. So how it works is probably more mysterious. The way that God built us and the way that he built this earth is maybe something we may never fully understand. But the vacuum of space cannot be proven. Do you know that they've never put a spacesuit on a man and put him into a vacuum chamber on Earth? Well, they did it once in the 1960s and he nearly died. The doctors rushed in because they got a partial vacuum and his tongue started to boil. He passed out. They rushed in and they managed to save his life. There's a video of him talking about it, and that's the only video that we can find of the evidence of them actually testing the spacesuit. Now, if you were going into a vacuum of space, which is violently vacuum, you would surely want to make sure that your suit fit your body and was impervious to this so-called violent vacuum. And yet no astronaut in space has ever had a problem with their spacesuit. However, in 2015, the BBC announced that an astronaut nearly died on a spacewalk by drowning. His helmet filled with water. Now, they actually test on the ISS, the International Space Station, they actually test in a swimming pool. So what we believe is that they use that same swimming pool and those same tests because they're using exactly the same suit. They put a blue screen or a green screen behind that, and then they say, now we're up in space doing the spacewalk, rather than they're just doing it all in a swimming pool. We've seen bubbles leaving helmets, and on one occasion we saw the reflection of a scuba diver during a spacewalk. Impossible if they're in space. It's much more likely that they're doing that in a swimming pool. And then when they're like Tim Peake, have you heard of Tim Peake? Oh, okay. He's a British astronaut who went to space, and there's still probably a Channel 4 interview with him when he went. It was 8 years ago. He went into space apparently, and then he does this like flip. He says, "Okay, I'll do this flip for you guys," and it looks like he's on a harness in a circus, just doing like a head over heels. But if we were in what they call the vacuum of space, he should be able to just bounce off every wall and go, look at me, I'm floating in every direction.
Yeah.
There's no wires here, there's no tricks. But we've seen sometimes there's glitches in what they put out. And we've seen wires and harnesses, that they're using wires and harnesses to make these guys look like they're floating. So it's all a big circus trick designed to trick us all, mankind. And I was 47 before I started looking at this. So I went through my whole life. I've got children older than you, and I educated them on the idea that we live on a globe and we evolved from monkeys and all that kind of thing. And now I know that that was all deception. I truly believed it, but I was wrong. And I've had to go out and admit that, and here's me doing some of that work to repair the damage that I did, and try and free souls from the trap of deception. I believe this is Satan's world, or rather, Satan is controlling God's world at this point.
Yeah.
And the only way that we're going to free ourselves is when we come to realize that we've been deceived, and that we take action to free our own hearts and our souls from the trap. Doesn't mean everyone has to get it, but I do like to try and connect with people and say, hey, this is something for you to think about, because the soul that you carry is eternal, never dies, but it set you on a mission in your life to kind of come here and overcome or get subsumed by the deceptions. I liken it to, I'll let you go in a moment, I liken it to Dorothy and the Yellow Brick Road, the Wizard of Oz, you know that story, right? And you can get caught up along the Yellow Brick Road, or she could have gotten frightened along the road and go, you know what, I'm not going to go any further. The lion looking for his heart and so on. Is the story of us, is that I'm scared by what's ahead, so I'm not going to go any further down this journey. And I think we're meant to be like Dorothy and realize when we get to the end of the road, there's just an old man pulling levers and trying to scare you from discovering who you truly are.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and it's wonderful truly to realize that, and then you perhaps won't get caught up by the deceptions.
I'm coming now. Okay.
I'll let you go.
Well, thank you for that. Bye.
Have a good life. There you go, friends. Hit the like button and share if you can. Won't cost you anything. Something that I'm keenly aware of, having just rejoined the Facebook melee, is that there are a lot of people who know that the Earth is flat now, by comparison to when I was on it 5 years ago or whatever. A lot of people know that, but very few people know that there are geezers like me going out and doing activism like this. One, it's nice to get the support. Two, good day. Nice to get the support. And two, it's great to encourage others to do the same. Earth is flat, not a spinning globe. We've been deceived about who we are and where we live. So, yeah, if you can share this on your social media, that would be greatly appreciated. If a legend like Alex Michael can share my stuff, then there's no harm in the rest of you doing the same. Earth is flat, my friend, not a spinning globe. Just an update, my family are all doing well. Go well. I mean, obviously there's an element of disbelief, because the program is so deep for us, and the youngsters have had so many, movies and so on, Water's always going to find level, sir. All the lakes are level, and so is the sea from here to America. Water's always going to level, young ladies. You know that?
What?
You've ever heard the expression across the pond between here and America is across the pond?
Yeah.
Yeah, a pond is level. You know, we've measured lakes 10 miles, even longer, with a laser and found them perfectly level. And we know that water is actually going to level. Your bath is going to level. If someone installs a bath for you and they sort of put it at an angle, the water is going to still find level, even though the bath itself is not at straight, right? You can take a bucket or a glass of water and tip it on one side. The water, will, when it's at rest, will come to a level, and that level will be horizontal to your bath, even if your bath is misaligned. And that same is true with a lake that might be nearby.
So does that not go against your argument?
What?
Because surely you're saying that if something's not level, the water will still be level. So the reason the water's level is because everything else is curved.
No, so think about...
It is. I can't. The earth is not flat.
The earth is as flat as my big butt. Well, you said it. You said it. Hey, Just JP, are you still there? Nice to see you. Squirrel here. Nice to see you, bro. It's Voynich. Nice to see you, man. Never trust a man that shops at WH Smith. Where's that? Don't see that. Alex Michael has got a new album out, Solfeggio. I listened to it the other day, and it's very calming. I enjoyed it, so I would recommend checking that out. The girth is fat. That's funny. Hi, Fred. I didn't bring my glasses, so some of this, Tony Wickman, how are you doing? Pounce Richard, didn't know they were still around. Yeah. But not everything's a pound anymore. So they don't, even like Poundland, you know, a lot of things are £2. I think Poundland's that toolbox that said pandemic, no jab, no job. What a tool. So that's young, that's a lady with the round butt, Jayab, she, it's that kind of, the brain is shutting down. The brain is shutting down, so, you know, I'm pretty sure I got the explanation pretty good, but she was just looking for a way out of that. Get a few more combos today. I'm in Leatherhead, if anyone doesn't know that. The school that young Christian lady was aware that the moon is a freight. Of course, it's what's something that's unpalatable for people to realize. Then it means that Russia, I'd rather say no. Russia's not friends with them. You know, they're all sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but she didn't know Tim Peake though, because I would have thought if all that TV's wheeled into to watch this Grand Deception, just like we were in '86. Well, we you know, it wasn't the first, but the '86 one. a lot of people had it put in their school and then were traumatized when that balloon blew up. Helium balloon. I do think that part of it is using helium. I think that a lot of the space, the rocketry is actually, they make these helium balloons. I don't know if you've come across those windsurfing boards or paddle skiing boards that people use a lot now. That they're like a rigid balloon. It gets super hard. Oh, good day, folks.
Hiya.
I see you read the Bible. Genesis says Earth is unmoving, not a spinning globe. The spinning globe coming from monkeys is all a deception. God created the Earth perfect, not a marble in a vacuum of space. I don't want to catch people coming up here.
Bye guys. Bye. Take care. I'll see you soon.
Tomorrow at Speaker's Corner, so felt a bit febrile last week, I have to say. The religious conflict seems to be hotting up. I don't know. If that's a bellwether, then it does make me feel like that. I saw a video about a ship in Australia that creates cloud, and in the comments section, Aussies were talking about how they had so much rain, which is true for us. Had so much rain, and then you hear farmers talking about how all of this rain is spoiling their crop and blah blah blah. You know, one of the things about controlling people is food supply. Did he just fart on the way past? Constellations located close to the north-south celestial pole can only be seen from their respective hemisphere. Well, it's true, and you're obviously a free thinker. Hello, my man.
All right, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm very well.
You've seen this before, haven't you? I can tell.
No, I've just seen it now for
Is
the
this?
first time.
No, I mean, have you not come across it on the internet and stuff? People talking about the Earth being flat.
Flat Earth, yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah. In the last 10 years, it's really exploded. I'm only 10 years into this myself. I believe in the globe.
You believe it?
I believe that we went to the moon. I believe all of those things. And then when I came across this formula for curvature on the globe, have you come across it yet? The formula for the curvature?
You can prove that curvature of the Earth is real using simple Pythagorean.
Yeah. So what
maths.
is that? What is the formula?
I don't know the formula off the top of my head. It's not something I invest a lot of
So
time
I
in.
grew up by the sea. I spent a lot of time at the seaside, and the formula is 8 inches per mile squared.
Mm-hmm.
So when you apply that formula over 10 miles, it's 800 inches of curvature, according to Pythagoras, right? Now I know, I was like, so I used to see like streetlights well up the coast, 15 miles up the coast, and it'd be, how can I see that if it's 800 inches or more?
Well, it depends upon the
of
topography
curvature?
of the land, doesn't
No,
it?
over water.
Over water, all right, yeah.
Yeah, over water. It's because obviously topography makes a difference. If you're in the valley, you're not going to see far. If you're on the mountain, you're going to see far further. But over water, if we live on a water ball like they claim, that's 70-odd% water, and it's curving.
But it's not.
all of the
It's
time.
not. It's not like they claim. I've flown to various places around the world. I've been on about 25 flights in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 40 years old. Been on about 25 airplanes to different places.
Yeah.
you can visibly see the curvature of the Earth. You
Neil
can look
deGrasse
out of a
Tyson-
window and see it.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a famous astrophysicist.
I know exactly who he is. Yeah.
He said that when the guy did the Red Bull jump, what was his name? Baumgartner
Yeah.
did the Red Bull jump. He went higher than any human has been outside of a craft ever. And he said he wasn't high enough to see curvature at that height. And what you see when you go back and look at his footage is that they're using fisheye lenses to create like that state that they were in.
No,
looked
because
like
you
the whole
no.
globe.
So
And then
you
let
can
me
find
just- let me
you
just
can
finish.
you can find Vulcan. You can find so the Vulcan plane is the highest aircraft, or the aircraft that can fly the highest out of anything that doesn't breach
What
space.
altitude is that?
It's about I think it's like something like 50,000 feet, 60,000 feet,
I'm
something
going
like
to
that.
trump that. I've
So-
got video footage, 5 minutes of a SR-71 Bluebird flying at 70,000 feet, and the pilot is in the cockpit and he's filming out around him, and everything is as flat as far as you can see, and then he films himself, so you know that this is unbroken footage. Flat earthers have taken weather balloons to 120,000 feet, and all they find is flat.
But all right, okay, right. So I'm
But
not.
we're away from the 8 inches per mile squared, which we can measure on the
Fair,
ground.
fair enough. Like, without having numbers
I've
in front of
flown
me,
many
I don't.
times. I've flown
Yeah,
from
yeah,
South
yeah. Cool.
Africa,
Yeah, cool.
At least a dozen
how
times.
how we visibly observe other celestial bodies,
Now we're
planets,
announcing, yeah.
which are spherical, which we can demonstrably see that they're spherical.
No, we can see they're round.
We can see they're round,
Yeah.
but so when they're orbiting, they're spinning, and they're orbiting the sun, turning. You can see that from one day to the next, it has moved in a rotation.
Yeah.
You can visibly track that.
Oh, I can watch the moon in one night turn like this. It's twisting like this. You can see it. It's almost like a clock.
Well,
face
no, it's
that's
not though,
turning.
because because you have the dark side of the moon and the light side of the moon.
I'm not saying that it's turning around it like that. I'm saying, like, think about a clock face that's rolling like this, right?
You mean it rotates?
Yeah, and it rotates once a day, and it's clockwise in the northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in the southern hemisphere. These are observations I've gone and made in the last 10 years, because
Right.
I was like, damn, I used to believe everything that you believe. Now I know that just because the football is round,
we can
doesn't mean
visibly
the pitch is round.
see other planets spinning on an axis. We can map it just not even by making measurements, just by taking pictures.
Yeah.
We can see that.
Yeah,
It's visibly,
there's a
it's
Nikon-
demonstrably real.
So Nikon came out with a camera called the P9000, and
Right.
average dudes like you and me who can afford that camera go out and film the stars. And the same thing that you're saying is that what we're seeing is actually like a shimmering or a twisting or a vibration. Which is
A shimmering.
yeah. And where so
Not physical,
physical,
rotational
no.
around an axis.
What NASA gives
because that
you
actually
is
is
a
what
rock.
it is.
NASA gives us rocks and gas giants that are reflecting light from the sun.
Right.
But what we're seeing with Saturn, Venus, Mercury, and Mars, they're all doing their own shimmering, their own electromagnetic. It's called sonoluminescence. Have you come across the star and the giant?
I
experiment?
know. I know
So
what
just
you're
by
talking about,
using
yeah.
vibration in a medium, you can actually create a star. And the frequency that you use using the sort of, you know, like the vibrating plate.
But this is
Using the vibrating, you're not wanting to hear me.
No,
You're not wanting to hear me.
No,
I'm here to teach people, but obviously you're in a block, and I can't help you with that.
But I mean, that's just arrogance. That like, when I'm
The arrogance is
I'm
coming
trying
from
to.
yourself, sir.
No.
Because I'm trying to inform you that we've been deceived by the governments of the
No,
world.
you're offering me hokum that has no real scientific value to it, and expecting me to just go along with it. And when I argue with the toss, you go, oh well, you're not listening, you're not hearing me out. But I don't need to, because it's nonsense.
Okay. Well, water is always level. That's not hokum. Water will always find level, and that level will be provably parallel to any other level
Right.
body of water. That's a fact. And you can't prove that we're spinning. Have a nice day. So, I'm not going to waste too much time with poking. You need to put this thing on the charger. Earth is flat, guys. Not a spinning ball. Don't lie to you.
Oh, is this your stuff?
This is me, man. I used to believe in the globe and all the stuff that goes with it for 47 years. 10 years ago, I came across a formula for curvature on the globe. It's 10 inches, 8 inches per mile squared. And 8
This is a
inches per
joke.
mile squared, no.
Seriously.
Water is level. You see the Evian bottle that you're holding right now? See how that water, you can tip it this way? That water's always going to maintain level, no matter what you do. Whilst it's at rest, if you're shaking it about, obviously not. But that's going to be level, and I could bring out my water bottle, and your mates could bring out their water bottle, and that level you could build off.
Okay.
You know, if you put it on the street, and it's like, oh, it's not the street's not level, because you can tell that it's not running level in your bottle. You'd be like, oh, it's got a bit of a tip to it. But actually, water, if I made that Evian bottle 1,000,000 times bigger, you'd get the same result. It's still
Why
going to
would you?
find level.
Why would you get the same result? That's what the bit I don't agree with. I don't think this is a good model for like the planets and shit.
Let's stay with what we can measure, because what's out there is hard to measure.
You
But
can
what,
measure that the Earth is a curve.
what is the curvature formula?
I don't know
I just
it.
told you, actually. It's 8 inches per mile
Why are they
squared.
keeping a secret?
To hide the truth about who you are. Well, we live on a slave farm. You may not know this, but what
I
happened in
don't.
2020 was they forced your mom and dad to stay at home. They forced children to wear nappies on their faces. That makes you a slave. They said to people that you can't come to work if you don't take our test medicine in your arm. And people are dying from that now. So we live in a slave farm, and they want
How
you
does
to be a
that
good
relate to
slave.
the curvature of the Earth? Though? I feel
Well-
like they probably do lie to us, but I don't know. I feel like I can't really connect it to the curvature of the Earth.
Well, for me, because I mean, you know about 9/11 not being Osama bin Laden, right?
Sure.
You're aware of that, yeah?
Sure.
Well,
Okay,
oh,
so
yeah.
that was like an early truth for me. It's like, damn, they lied about that to us, you know? And that was like an early days thing. And I was in a war in a country called Angola in 1987 before you were born. I was in tank battles in 1987. And I knew that the Americans were supporting what we were doing, but they weren't telling anybody. I knew that the British were supporting it, but they weren't telling anybody. The Russians were supporting the other side, but it was the Cold War and there was no wars apparently going on. So I knew as a kid that we are not being told the truth. But I went along with it. I went and got my job and did all that like most people do. And then I found out that 9/11 wasn't what I believed it was. For a long time, I believed the story on the TV. And then I found out, no, Building 7 came down, 8 seconds, impossible. It wasn't hit by anything. That was and that's gateway entry stuff. But this flat Earth came to me a little later, and it's like why I go around, because it's like, wow, if this is true, it means that all the governments in the world are colluding.
Do you genuinely believe the Earth's flat, or is it like a thing of like I think they're lying to us? The Earth might be round, but it's about the fact they're lying to us about everything.
well,
Like,
if
the
you-
Earth could be flat. Is it that kind of thing?
Well, it's so I say electromagnetic because in toruses, which is like an apple, electromagnetic apple, we would probably be in the center where the seeds are, rather than on the skin, which is the outside of the apple. Nothing in nature grows on the outside of its skin. Everything must be contained by a shell, a bark, a peel, or whatever. So I'm absolutely certain that we're not walking underneath a marble. I've flown
You
from
don't
South
think it's a
Africa.
glow? You don't think it's
Definitely.
a glow?
Well, not a physical rock, yeah? So electromagnetic globe, like an apple, but it's an electromagnetic thing, right? An energetic thing. You know, people who look into like body science and stuff like that, they'll say, you're an apple, you're an electromagnetic torus. The only physical part I can see is this avatar that's standing in front of me. But there's actually more to you than just this avatar. And I think that's true with the Earth, is that this bit that we're standing on is the avatar that we can walk on, but there is much more to it. What is the universe? Could it be
But
a
why
ball?
NASA? Why are NASA making it up though? What if we?
Just enslave your mind.
Well, remember, NASA is
But it
government,
doesn't
right?
link to anything though.
And NASA is, well, you see, so I think, I mean, I used to be an atheist, right, up until I found this stuff, and I was like, damn, there's something more going on here. And I took DMT, and I went through a whole lot of things to discover that shit. We are the expression of whatever the creator is, whatever God is. We are it. You are the center of the universe, and you will never know that while you believe you're an evolved ape living on a spinning rock in a violently sort of scary thing with asteroids that are going to destroy us and dinosaurs and all that stuff. No, for me, it's like the gateway truth to understanding who you really are, and that the reason they lie about the globe is because they don't want us to know who we are. We will go along with whatever, be slaves, pay the taxes, and do all of these sorts of things. The money system is a scam. The medicine
I hate
system
paying
is a
tax, to
scam.
be fair.
Yeah.
So
the
how do you
medicine
get out
system
of
is a
paying
scam.
taxes?
Well, I don't work in the system anymore. I do find other ways to work.
it's
I do
cash in
coaching.
hand.
Cash in hand, but actually there's something called digital currency that's coming our way. And as this rolls out, it's going to be increasingly difficult, and it is now. I mean, when I first came to the UK in '94, cash in hand was far more commonplace. Now it's much harder because most payments are electronic.
Yeah.
And so they can, even with PayPal, people send me money via PayPal and stuff from America or Australia or whatever. They send me money, and even that they're trying to get a hold of as like, oh, you're earning money here. We need to tax you on that. So no, if you were, let's say, you were offering someone a service, say, okay, this is how you're going to pay me, and we agree that, then you're not going to have to go through any systems. And you're going to go, okay, because some of what you do, you might have to pay taxes on. Certainly, whatever you bought at Sainsbury's now, you've paid tax on. but the actual, your income, your energy, your life energy is yours, and we're having it stolen from us. And do you know that income tax was only invented to pay for the wars? You know, after the war, they're like, oh, we've had to borrow so much money for this war. We're going to have to introduce income tax. It'll only be for 1 year, we promise. Now, every year, they have to redo that promise and set it again. And
I
go,
mean, you
"No."
sold me on that, to be fair.
You know,
I'd
so
love to,
so the whole thing is a scam. I mean, what they've done cleverly in the last 5 or 8 years is to really ridicule the flat Earth. I mean, when you were 7 years old, teachers said, "Oh, you'd fall off the edge of a flat Earth if it was flat, right?" So no one who's researched flat Earth says there's an edge that we can go that we know of. You know, it must be contained. The waters, the 70% of water that is our oceans, has to be contained somehow. And I say it's inside of an apple or inside of a bubble, and we can't get out of it. Some people in the flat Earth say there is evidence that there's other continents. There was a very well-known American naval admiral called Admiral Richard Byrd, and he went on TV after spending 15 years. He was given a whole fleet of ships and given 15 years to go and explore Antarctica. When he came back, he said, "I've found land that no man has ever stood on, bigger than America, and it's got resources on it that will last lifetimes for humanity." They locked Antarctica down the very next year, and they signed what's known as the Antarctic Treaty. Russia, America, all the big countries, Sweden, South Africa, all these countries that are near what we believe is an ice wall, an ice ring, they all signed up to it. And their navies were all set up to prevent you, if you had $1 million and you go, "Oh, I'm going to take my boat down and I'm going to get to this Antarctica." After the 60th parallel, they will ping you, you will get picked up, and they will send you back. We've seen videos of a Dutch guy who had a boat and he tried to do it himself. And they just turn up, they go, "No, we're just fishing."
So how do you do it? How do you show that the Earth is flat? You know, like
That's true. How-
Because
how
it's
do you-
like, what's the next step for you? Because I don't think you'll be able to convince me here.
I'm not going to convince you. You've got to work it out yourself. Remember, you've had, 20 years old? You've had so many years of programming, right? And that programming doesn't get washed away with one conversation. It took me, even though I discovered the 8 inches formula and I grew up by the sea, and I'm like, damn, I've seen things as a kid much further away than I'm meant to be able to if we live on a globe. But it still took me months of going through everything about the globe, understanding how everything works. NASA, there's a documentary called The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, which is NASA's own footage showing how they're faking going to the moon. I believed in the moon landings. So you've got to go and do the homework for
I
yourself.
mean, but you guys need to get a rocket ship or something.
Some privateers sent up a rocket called the Go Fast rocket, and it went 100 miles and hit something, and then couldn't go any further. Others who got a bit
Wait,
of
when
money.
100 was up and hit something.
We can't get. I'm sure, and thermodynamics demands that if you want pressure in your bottle or in your deodorant can or whatever, you have to keep it sealed. Once you break the Coke can or whatever, equalization of pressure straight away. And so we cannot have a vacuum of space with a pressurized system and no hard barrier. This idea that gravity is the hard barrier is just a theory, and for me, some of the things that have to get washed away. But so proving it, I mean, on this flyer, I've put a friend of mine has an app, which is $2, $3, which has got the best evidences. So you've got to go through this work yourself if you want to, and sort of start to ask
Do you
questions.
have a lot of
for yourself.
followers?
I used to have quite a lot, and then when the COVID came, I started going around. I was in South Africa
I saw
at the
this in
time,
Hyde Park.
and
I saw this in Hyde Park a few days ago.
that's me.
Yeah.
I did that in
That's
Hyde
why I
Park.
was pointing at this. So I was like, I just saw that in Hyde Park.
Dude, you
days
can
ago.
give me the nuts there, man. That was me on Sunday. I go and I'll be there tomorrow. I go not every week, but when I'm near London, I'll
It's
go
a
to
bit
Hyde
random.
Park.
This Leatherhead.
It's Leatherhead, yeah.
You're not going to get many followers around here.
No, but I was in Dorking a few
About
weeks
80
ago.
years of
and-
programming.
Yeah, but look, I mean, I've had a conversation with a young Christian lady where it was really powerful, and just the conversation I've had with you two lads today has made it worthwhile.
Okay, that's good.
And that, but like I say, you know, if you go and research Flat Earth today, and you search in Google or YouTube or whatever, it'll just give you debunkers. There's a lot of people debunking it, and which is what I first came across. I was like, you know what? That doesn't make sense. I'm not going to buy this flat Earth bullshit, right? And then I had an experience with DMT in 2015. I was like, man, we're not material. Actually, we're not even. This material physical experience that we're having here is just like an avatar. You know, it's like you can take your TV, which is like an old school black and white TV, and plug in like a skybox. All of a sudden, your skybox has got a whole lot more channels, and your TV's got a whole lot more channels, and you can see a whole lot more. Well, that's what happened for me on the DMT.
So
It was like,
DMT.
you know, ayahuasca.
Yeah. I mean,
But where do we get that?
I don't
it's
think I
not-
would believe.
it's not- I mean, I think it finds you, you know, and it's not like a party thing. It's like, for me, it was the most serious moment in my life. I was 47. I was an atheist, and I came out of that experience and like, it's true, there's a God. And this was like, I had my ass kicked so badly. I said, I know nothing. I'm 47. I've published a book. You know, I've had a career, blah, blah, blah. And up until this moment, I knew nothing about who we are and where we are. And I started researching, which included going into flat Earth. But flat Earth is just the gateway. But truthfully, you know, water is always going to find level. If you come down the mountains, every lake will be parallel to the next lake. And then the last lake is called the sea. And every hill, like here, is given a height above sea level, and it's the same. As you research this, you'll find out they use the same mean sea level, it's called mean sea level, for every mountain on Earth.
Would it be easy to see if we had DMT?
Well,
I feel like I've done a good amount of acid and I've only gotten dumber.
No, you know what? I took acid mushrooms. I've been to Amsterdam many times just for some trips, you know. And it didn't prepare me at all for the DMT. It was like there's a documentary called DMT, the Spirit Molecule. You might have come across it.
I heard
It's
of
on
it, but I've
YouTube.
not seen
It's
it.
like a guy.
Yeah, I mean, and I watched that because a friend
yeah.
had said, listen, I've got this DMT, you're going to try it, right? But watch this documentary first. And I watched the documentary first. It didn't prepare me for what I went through. It was like a near-death experience, and it's not a joke. It is so frightening initially, and then once you're through that like death experience, you're in a place where you're like, oh, I'm in a place of such love. And everything that I could see, it wasn't like I was tripping or that things were all, you know, like on acid or mushrooms maybe, things are all got like going weird and wonky.
Yeah.
No, I was seeing the walls and the trees and stuff like, damn, they're not real, they're light. It's just pulsing, like the palms were just pulsing light. My body, the guy who took me through the trip, he was light. His body was light. It was like, what are we, you know?
Yeah.
So we're not really what we think we are. And I think one of the deceptions of, you know, your material and you live on a ball, a rock, and all this sort of stuff is designed to trick us into believing that we are these simple monkeys that turned into humans, and we should just be good slaves.
I don't really think about the shape of the Earth too much, though.
No, but it's not so much about the shape of the Earth so much as it's the grandness of the deception.
Okay, I see.
You see,
So like it's all they're part of their big picture.
you know, everything works like it works. Planes fly, ships sail.
If you catch them out on the Earth being a different shape, then
It's
what
like-
else are they lying about?
That's the big one, which means that Russia and China and America, when they go into the Third World War, are doing it because at the top table they want to enslave us more. You know, Second World War damaged this country. You know, even though bombs only landed in London or some of the big cities, Leicester and places like that, and the people kind of got on with life and so on, we're still paying the price for that. And it traumatized. You know what? I mean, you're old enough now, thankfully. But what happened in 2020 to 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and 8-year-olds who were forced to sit in school with masks on their face and whatnot? That's a trauma on them that will last a lifetime.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Really? Why?
Absolutely. What, to be stifled? To be stifled? You know, you are given the right of breath, free breath and breathing, and to be said like you're
Annoying,
actually,
but I didn't think they were. I
yeah,
didn't feel
no,
like I
the
was-
psychology of saying that you're a walking time bomb. You could kill Granny. That was devastating on you. That's devastating on people's psychology. In fact, my little boy, who's 7, right? I have older children who finish university. When I've discovered this truth, I said to my wife, hey, I'd like to have another child and raise him without all the indoctrination that I gave the older children. Schooling myself, all that sort of thing.
No way.
Yeah, no vaccine,
way. How does
no
that
vaccine,
go? How does that
never. You know, and but when he's gone out to play on more than one occasion, where a little child has said, "Don't come closer to me," that never happened to you when you were a children. You'd be like, "Hey, hello, kid. What you know, we play." Now children are
Yeah,
messed
but
up.
I was
by it.
vaccinated as well.
Really? in the last few years.
I was vaccinated at COVID, yeah.
And we were
Couple
both
times.
vaccinated as children.
Yeah, me too. You know, so, but I don't think that we need them actually, because you are given a God-given immune system that, you know, as long as you don't poison yourself, your immune system will actually get stronger. The more, like when you're a kid, like you're picking up stuff off the ground, eating the dirt, you know, you're picking up stuff, and those germs that you're taking on board, it actually is strengthening your immune system. But if you take a child and wrap them in cotton wool and never let them come into contact with anything like that, I'll use the example of skin, right? You've got a fairly like fair skin. So if you can get used to it, like let's just say you're going to Spain and the first day you arrive there, like 12 hours in the sun, damn, that's going to burn. But if you have an hour on the first day, hour and a half the next
In a
day,
year's
and build
time,
it
you're
up,
chilling.
Base
in
layer.
you know 6 months
base
time, your skin's adapted and it's no problem. Well, your immune system is the same. we're meant to be around people. We're meant to pick up a little bit of your German, my German. We share them, and then my immune system gets stronger. As I said, I was in South Africa during one of the lockdowns, and the Africans, because I was going around to the townships and talking to people there, and they're like, we've got none of that here. But the truth is, because you guys are living in sort of, I'm going to say squalor, but you're living in fairly like dirty conditions by compared to most Western kids whose moms, sterilize, bleach everything and clean everything all the time. And of course, what we saw in this country and other European countries was everybody was like killing their microbiome on their skin by putting that stuff, the hand cleaner, on every 5 minutes. You know? So this is actually weakening your body rather than strengthening it.
So what is the truth then? So Ukraine war, is that what they say?
So one of the things that got me started on this journey is that I was on a book tour, putting out my book, right? And a guy came to me and said, I was in Intel, and I want you to know that the Americans and the Russians and the British and South Africans were meeting with the Angolans in a hotel room in the capital of Angola to talk about where your battles would take place. That was hard for me to accept. Then a hairdresser who was from Kurdistan, I said, why are you guys ISIS fighting with each other all the time? He said, ISIS, that's not us, that's America. I was angry with him, I'll be honest with you. I didn't go back to him for 6 months, but in that 6 months, I learned all of this stuff, and I'm like, damn, dude, you were right, They're actually funding both sides of the war. They're creating, like, let's just say...
I've actually got to go to work, so I mean, we're in a bit of a rush.
Well, you can always go and look for more of our information.
Your podcast?
Yeah, well, this is live on YouTube right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So, all the best. Thanks for the time. Enjoy the work. Don't pay too much tax.
I'll try not to.
Yeah. It's a nice conversation. We were getting there. Good day, sir.
Good day.
How are you?
I'm okay, not too bad.
Good. Where are you from? Iraq?
No, I'm from India.
India?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of a place called Durban
Durban, yeah.
in South Africa?
Yes.
That's where I'm from. I used to be very proud of this fact that as a kid growing up, we'd be like, Durban has the highest population of Indian people anywhere in the world outside of India.
Oh, yes.
It may not be true today, but it certainly was when I was a youngster. Because, Indian people had flooded there or were brought there, depending on which version of the story you go with, in the 1800s. And there are millions of Indian people. So I've got lots of Indian friends.
Yes.
They taught me how to make curry and blah, blah, blah from the old school.
Yes.
Well, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
How long have you been in England?
Came here in 1986.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you've been here a long time then.
Yeah, long. Yeah.
Do you miss home? You go home?
Yeah, I go home sometimes, yeah. Not too much. I used to go when I was in my 20s, 30s. I used
Right.
to go more often.
Yeah.
But now it seems like home is here now.
Right.
So
Right.
living here.
Yeah.
So,
Your family, your mom and dad, they've moved on? Are
mom and dad is here.
they? Okay, they're here too. Okay.
Brother and sisters are
Okay.
here.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's got some advantages. I mean, home is where the heart is, I suppose,
Yes.
But, I think a lot of people move from their home country because of economics.
Yeah.
The economy is why most people move, There's not so many jobs or
Yeah.
opportunity maybe.
Yeah.
But my honest truth is that I think we're meant to be in our natural place where we come from,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't live outside of that place, but ideally people wouldn't need to leave their home place other than to travel and to visit a place. Come to England for a few months or travel to America for a few months or whatever. But really, your home is your home, man. It's where you come from. It's where you are vibrationally connected much more to people. Because even though you've been here 40 years, your natural kind of people might look at you here in Leatherhead and say you're not from here.
Yeah.
You're not naturally from here.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas if you were sitting in Kerala or some other place, where what do they call Bombay now?
Mumbai.
Yeah. If you were there, people were like, oh, it's just another fellow from place. You know, you're just another one of us. I like that people can move around, and I don't have an issue with people being in other countries and setting themselves up. It's not bothering me. However, I do think that most people move because of the push to move, rather than it's like, yeah, let me go and live in England where I'm going to be the only Indian in the village. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. True. What you said. It's very true.
Yeah. But you know, I think I think in my experience, you know, Indian people in South Africa add value. You know, they do bring their own talents and value to the community, so that's great. But people, you'll find it with, say, Polish or South African or Indian or whatever. People do tend to kind of keep to their own community than they do necessarily to integrate with the entire community. Understandable. I don't have an issue with that. So I'd like to leave you with my flyer. You may not agree with me on this, but we are lied to by the governments about pretty much everything, and this is one of the big ones. Share that with your family and say you met this guy who says that the earth is flat, that the Indian Ocean is one level body of water between India and Africa. It's just flat, the water. Obviously the rocks and the mountains are not flat, but the water, the sea level is the same. When the ship leaves India, it's going to just travel across level water down to South Africa and then carry on level water to England. It's not coming up the side of a ball.
Yeah, like it's not going like
not
this.
that, no.
Humps.
Well, I mean, obviously it has waves and things like that, but it's not like kind of sailing up the side of the globe and then sailing back down when it comes from England to South Africa.
Yeah.
It's sea level. Yes, my friend. Are you interested in this subject?
I study it a lot.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a friend of mine who's got an app, which you may have come across. I don't know if you've heard of Flat Earth Dave.
Flat Earth. I'm sure I've heard of that before.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. He's
Are you Christian?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Are you
I'd
Christian?
say not specifically, no.
No.
But it is biblical.
Yeah, I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I believe,
Oh, okay.
I believe in flat
Okay.
Earth.
Well, I think that Jesus was a real. I don't demean
Yeah.
what Jesus brought, but I think that the message of Jesus, just like the globe has been created by deceivers, it might be Satan's world, then the message that Jesus was giving us was usurped 2,000 years ago, or in the last 1,000 years.
I think the way I look at it, because I agree with the flat Earth theory.
Okay.
I agree with it. It took a long time to come to the conclusion. But when I look at the message of Jesus, and as you say, the globe itself has been corrupted, and the idea of what we are has been corrupted. There's never a time when we can go on an airplane and we can see any sort of curve.
No, some people would say they are seeing curve, but I agree with you.
I think a lot of people say they want to see a curve just to prove
Yeah.
If we look at the message of Jesus, we have manuscripts.
Yeah.
So we have like 27,000 manuscripts of the New Testament, and the oldest manuscripts we have date way before the Council of Nicaea. And to solidify the words that Jesus said, we have the document of Luke. Right. You're familiar with the Gospels, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Right. Yeah. So you have Luke. Luke wasn't. He never seen Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
He never physically was around Jesus. But
Right.
there's one thing that Luke got his theories from, was from first-hand eyewitness accounts.
Right.
So at the time, he went all over Jerusalem, all over Israel, collecting different accounts, collecting the account of Jesus from here, the account of Jesus from here. And Jerusalem at that time was a divided place. So there's people from this part didn't talk to them, they didn't talk to these, they didn't talk to these. Samaritans and the Jews wouldn't speak at all. They all said the same story, which beckons a question. If all people that were not in contact accorded the exact same thing happened, then I think we have to have a true story here.
Yeah.
But a lot of people misrepresent Jesus, misrepresent his message.
Yes.
I think the most beautiful message in the world that has ever been is a man that was lived in eternity, that was called God, came down to earth, died for the sins of all men, so that if they followed him, they'd have forgiveness of sin. And not only fulfillment of life, but have assurance of where they're going to go after they die.
Yeah.
So it's something to really look into.
I really I really like that message. You
Yeah.
know,
It's a message. It's the heart of the gospel.
yeah, but the thing is that I go to Speaker's Corner, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
there you meet lots of Muslims, and
Yeah.
you know, there are good men who believe truly that Muhammad was the last of the prophets, and Jesus was a prophet, and they have much respect for him.
Yeah.
But what I was saying to the Muslims last week, who gave me a Quran, and like, dude, you got to be, you know, is that the difficulty is that if I choose a brand,
Yeah.
you know, I honor God, and I know
Yeah.
that we are the product of God, and God spoke us into existence. You
Yeah.
know, the word was with God, so God spoke us into existence, and
Yeah.
we are created in the image of God.
course,
So
yes.
I honor that, but I think we're all created in the image of God.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Even though this may be Satan's world, and even though there may be people who have been deceived such that they are doing the work of Satan,
Yeah.
you know, so I am at that place, which I honestly in my heart believe that God will be happy with. When my time here comes and goes,
Yeah.
you know what, I get why you didn't. Because what I was saying to them was that, you know, what omnipotent God would create a situation, I might have been saying this to Christians last week, what omnipotent God would create a situation where 20%, maybe 30% of the world's population know the story of Jesus and kind of connect to it,
Yeah.
while 60-70% of the current population, let
Yeah.
alone before, when there wasn't mass media,
Yeah.
who do not. And actually what I see is the opportunity for Islam versus Christian kind of conflict.
Yeah.
And so the seeds of that must have been sown by something not of God, because it is pitting brother against brother. And so that's why I try and tread sort of at the middle line, rather than saying, you know, it has to be, I have to take Christianity as my mantle, because then I'm just separating myself from the Muslims, the Jews, and from anyone who is maybe not any of those things. I would rather say we're all one brotherhood, one family.
See, the way I look at it, we're all brothers in humanity.
Uh-huh.
Of course. If I believe, even for the Muslims, if you're Jew, if you're Christian, we all believe we came from two people. Yeah. And we all have very common ancestors. If we go back far enough, regardless of race, regardless of religion, we're all brothers in humanity. Of course we are. But I think there's a very, very, very big emphasis on truth. See, if I believe in God, and I believe in a place called heaven and hell, because in all accounts of, say, if it's biblical Christianity or if it's Islam, you'll believe in heaven and hell. And if I believe in Jesus as a prophet, as someone who come and told truth in Islam, then I have to take his word on board. You know what I'm trying to say. So in the Quran, it will tell you that Jesus is a prophet, that he gave life to animals, that he spoke as an infant, that he done all these great wonders, but yet they won't take his word. For instance, see, in the Quran it says to go back to the people of the Injil, that's the New Testament. They'll go back to the people of the Gospel, and the Gospel says this blatantly, and this is why I think we need to. This is why I believe people need to convert to Christianity, is not because I'm telling you, not because of the man behind the mic screaming at you, because of truth. And if it says here, and this is a beautiful message of the gospel, and this is something that the Quran in a way has corrupted. If we look,
I love that you got the Bible right there. That's awesome.
Alright, John 1:1. Now, the most common scripture of all time is John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Why did God send his Son? And who was the Son? You know, in the book of Colossians, it describes who the Son was. It says, through him all were created. So I was created, you were created, the heavens and the majesties of the galaxies were created. The flat earth we live on was created. You know, all things were created through the Son. Then we have the accounts of what he was called in the Old Testament. In Isaiah 9, it says, for a child shall be born, a government shall be given, and his name will be called Prince of Peace. El Gabor, mighty God. And it explains how he should be born. In Isaiah 7:14 says, a virgin shall bear a son. And it explains in the book of Micah where he should be born from. Bethlehem. it describes where he should be born through. It says Bethlehem. So we know there's a man who will be born, who has created all things, who will be born out of Bethlehem. We also know what must happen because he was born. And in the book of Isaiah it says, he shall be striped for our transgressions. In Psalms 22 it says his hands and feet will be pierced. Then we have this, John 1:1, the very beginning of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Yes. So who's the Word? It's Jesus. Yeah, we have a perfect testimony here of that. John 1:14, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So the same person speaking about that was in the heavens, the same person who was in eternity, who created all the stars in the sky, who created all the galaxies, created me and you, came down to earth and become like us.
Awesome. That's beautiful. What's your name?
Lewis.
You got the same eyes as me, Lewis. Are you Irish?
I'm half Irish, yeah.
Okay, your accent comes through a bit as Irish.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating. I don't have like a dog in the race about this, but I recently came across some idea that Jesus was a blue-eyed guy. You know, that actually he might have looked more like
you. Yeah.
But you see, God has the power to create a rose garden with a red and a white rose and a yellow rose, right? So I think that actually God has the potential to create like the Indian race. I was talking to an Indian man a minute ago, and African race and European race. Whether they're all, when researching flat Earth and the idea that there's been epochs and there were genuinely giants, like the Bible says, that
look at the Book of Enoch,
and that those giants were washed away. But it might mean that there have been epochs through which previous, let's say, civilizations, and not to pick on anyone, but just to say, once upon a time there were people mainly of the African-looking type, and then there was an epoch-ending event which ended them, and then God started again with, like, say, the Adam and Eve type thing. Then that's possibilities. I just keep sort of these possibilities of how it is that we have this diversity in the world, and come back to this idea that God created us in God's image. And Jesus said that you will go on and do greater things than I.
That's right.
So I believe that what Jesus was actually trying to say is that you are the expression of God. And when you look tonight in the mirror and say, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no, you cannot come to God but through yourself. That's what I think that we're meant to be actually saying. I know it's kind of hard for a Christian to hear that, because what you've heard of Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
So what we see in the world today is this constant seeking for a savior outside of ourselves, and that the next president or the next prime minister of this country is going to be the one that finally fixes the crap that's going on, right? And it never happens. And so it may be that what Jesus is trying to say is that you are the way. If you want to fix things, you can only do it yourself. Because, like I've said to my mom when I was a child, I was like, but how is it possible that a boy who's born in Islam, right, he's 99.7% unlikely ever to choose anything other than what his parents inculcated him with? And so that's like a damning, if you like. If you're a strict Christian, you go like, damn, you're not taking Jesus as dying for your sins, and that is, just like the verse you read is like, that's a problem.
The thing what I look at though, and this is what fascinates me. So you have that young guy who's born into Islam, and even in the Quranic verses, it's almost like throughout all of the I call it the lies about Christ, saying he never died. Every historical account in history says he died. It still says there, go back to the people of the Injil, go back to the Christian.
Right.
So it's like God is making a way out for them, even through their own book, saying, listen, go back to the people in the Injil, they'll tell you. I'm sure it's in Surah 4. It says, go back to the people of the Injil, go back to the people of the Gospel, listen to what they've got to say first. So if that young man reads those Quranic verses and takes them seriously and goes back to the Gospel of Jesus Christ, they'll find John 20.
But how come these preachers, these imams, are saying to me in Speaker's Corner, and they're well learned, why are they saying to me that no, this is a stepping stone, like Jesus was like a stepping stone towards the final prophet?
Because the Prophet Muhammad wanted that. And if you sorry, but if you look at the Quran, for instance, and you look at the Prophet Muhammad. The Prophet Muhammad, before he got his revelations, thought he was demon possessed and tried to kill himself 3 times.
Right. I didn't know that.
It's a fact. He tried to kill himself 3 times.
Right.
He said he'd come to the angel Gabriel. He looked at the angel Gabriel, tried to kill himself.
Wow.
Yeah. Until he said, "I submit," or "I Islam." He started prophesying about Islam, and then we look at one typical one topic throughout the whole of the Quran. It is to wipe out the Christian and the Jew.
Wow.
So Surah 9:29 it says, "Fight those who do not believe in Islam."
Right.
Surah 44 says, "Take off the heads of the disbelievers wherever you may find
Pretty
them."
grim.
So in Sahih al-Bukhari it says the last days of the Muslim. Now we read Surah 9:29 where it says, "Fight those who do not believe in Allah or His last day."
Right.
Now we find out what His last day is.
Yeah.
So in Sahih al-Bukhari it says the last day of the Muslim will not come until they kill every Jew.
Wow.
So we look at one topic: is Islam a religion of peace and from God, or is it an attack from Satan to kill the true religion? Is it an attack from Satan to kill the people of the book? We look at that, and if we look at the teachings of Christ, it's a complete opposite.
Right.
Look at Matthew 5. Matthew 5 is teaching people not to look at everybody with lust.
Yeah.
Don't look at women with adultery. Have respect for them. Don't fight. Turn the other cheek. He said to Peter, "Those who live by the sword will die by the sword." He preached a completely different gospel than what the Prophet Muhammad teached. Jesus' gospel was restoration for man. We were sinful people. We commit sin. We have murder in this world. We have paedophiles in this world, rapists in this world. We have a destroyed, horrible world. Yeah,
Deceivers. Globalists.
It's a disgusting world.
Sun worship of the sun, that's the heliocentric sun. Yeah.
And this one, it's a disgusting world. When we really analyse the world for what it is.
Well, where mankind is, because our nature is
the-
beautiful.
But this is the beautiful part about it. Although we are sinners, although we are failures, although we have all these problems, Christ still chose to die for us and make a way out for us.
Yeah.
And this is what the cross accomplished.
Yeah.
And this is why He was predestined to die upon that cross. For me and for you. What's your name again, sir?
Dave.
Dave. While He was on that cross, all right, not a lot of people know about the actual death of Jesus, that He was whipped with a cat and 9 tails. A cat and 9 tails is a whip with bone and metal at the end of it. So every time it would have struck the back of Jesus, it would have ripped out flesh.
Yeah.
And the Bible says his black was like a ploughed field.
Wow.
He was beaten, he was mocked, he had his beard ripped from his face,
Wow.
he was slandered and stripped naked in front of his family. Well, it didn't end there. They made him carry a rugged cross into the hill of Gargotha, stuck nails in through his hands and his feet, and they pushed a spear in his side. And through all of that, his mind wasn't on his alienated face, it wasn't on the nails in his hands and feet, it wasn't on his back, it wasn't on the mocking crowd, it was on Dave.
Forgive them.
It was on
for they
Dave.
know not.
It was on you.
Yeah.
All of it, his mind was not on revenge, it was on love,
Yeah.
and it was on Dave.
Yeah. I
You
love
think
that.
of that. Through the
I love
windows
that.
of eternity, He's seen all our failures,
Yeah.
all our secret hidden sins, all the
Yeah.
problems we've committed,
Yeah.
everything we hold dear, we regret in our heart. Through all of that, He looked through the windows of eternity, saw Dave, and chose to love him and die on a cross.
I love that.
Could you imagine that? Imagine
It's
such
beautiful.
a love. Imagine
It's
such
beautiful.
a love.
It is
And
beautiful.
the thing
Yeah.
is, if we look at the accounts, these things happened.
Yeah.
This is like no historian denies the life of Jesus Christ or denies the death of Jesus Christ. And the 500 separate eyewitness accounts that prove Jesus rose from the dead, it all happened. And because it happened, because the God-man came upon this earth and died upon a cross and chose to love you, there has to be something inside of us that roar up and think, I want to serve this man. I want to get to know this person.
Yeah.
Not as a distant God. Islam teaches a distant God that we can never know. Christianity teaches a God that you can know personally, get to know and love.
I love how much you know about this, and even to compare it with or contrast it with the Islamic story. I think that's really amazing. I admire that. Of course, I grew up in a Christian family and had a lot of Bible study as a
I can hear you from South Africa, so a lot of Christians are from,
Yeah.
there's a lot of Christians in South
Yeah.
Africa. Yeah.
And but they taught me, my church taught me that even though I read it, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this, but I read it in the Bible as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. I said to my preacher, you know, the Bible's a flat earth book, right? I used to say that as a teenager, but of course I was being indoctrinated, and they didn't mind that I was being indoctrinated into believing that we lived on a globe,
Yeah.
which puts God a long way away rather than on the footstool
Yeah.
looking down upon us. And as
Yeah.
Matthew 24 says, the majority will be deceived even amongst the elect. So I don't hold them accountable, or I don't have a grievance with them for inculcating this idea that I live on a globe, because my preachers did that. Oh no, we're lived on a globe and was comfortable with evolution and all of this kind of stuff. Like, so what is your? Because I get lots of Christians come to me and go, no, we live on a globe like that. But do you? I mean, are you seeing absolutely that the Bible is not supporting the globe?
Well, the way I perspect it all, with the flat Earth to the global Earth, my perspective can go back to the book of Isaiah. Where it speaks about, I believe, speaks about a disc.
Yeah, when he presses out like a stamp.
So if we're looking at it for that lens, and then we look at history for itself, what history says, what we've always believed, what we've constantly always believed.
I believe the Hebrew conception was this.
Flat Earth.
Yeah.
What have we believed through history constantly? Flat Earth. That's something we believed historically for generations, and then it was only a newfound discovery through. I'm sure it was NASA that say no, we're living around Earth, and
apparently I saw something on Facebook yesterday. Someone had posted a 1950s Bible with the Hebrew conception of the dome and the Sheol and all of that stuff.
I think it's undeniable, really.
So it was only with the advent of NASA that our religious leaders who are printing these Bibles are going to go, okay, we'll take that out of the Bible now, and then continue the deception. So what I wanted to bring your attention to, or for consideration, is that the Vatican, and I know you're probably not a supporter of the Vatican, but the Vatican is the kind of, well, the Pope calls himself the Vicar of Christ, which I think is an insult to Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So, but the Vatican is the author of, in my view anyway, of a lot of this stuff. I read a 250-year-old Bible the other day, which was a Protestant Bible, and in it at the back page...
I've got an old Bible for you if you want one.
Yeah?
I'll give it to you as a gift.
Awesome, I'd love that.
I've got it in the van as it is.
I will read it. But there's a story that I can't prove, but I just wanted to share it with you and wonder if you'd heard this before, that the Quran was actually written by the Vatican.
There's what I call the Vatican is the House of Lies. Yeah, that's what I love to call the Vatican.
Yeah.
For starters, when we look at the history of the Vatican, it's told nothing but lies.
Yeah.
It's just told nothing but lies. How I view the Quran as being written.
I mean, I don't want to insult Muslims by saying that.
I say this. I love Muslims. I don't like Islam. I love Muslim people.
They have a good
there are some
demeanor in the main.
There's some Muslim people that I can talk to and I love them. Yeah, I love Muslims, but when it comes to Islam itself, it's the teachings. And if we're looking at teachings that lie about Christ, if we're looking at a teaching that tells people to kill Christians and Jews, and in their last days to kill Christians and Jews, I can't like that being a human. Regardless of being a Christian, if I'm just a human being, I can't like that. But
equally, sorry to interrupt you, but equally in Judaism, they call non-Jews goyim, right? You've come across that phrase, which means cattle, and that to do things against goyim is actually okay in the extreme Torah, not Torah, the other
Talmud.
Talmudic.
Yeah. But the thing is, the Talmud isn't the Tanakh, which is the name of the Old Testament. So through the Old Testament, we have writings, but Christ brought new covenants. So he said, as Jesus said in Matthew 5, you've heard it is an eye for an eye, but I tell you, turn the other cheek. So Christ brought a new covenant with him.
Right.
But if we look at the Quran being written, it wasn't bounded until a long time after the Prophet Muhammad died.
Right.
Yeah. So the closest thing we have to the Prophet Muhammad is probably like Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, the Hadith.
Right.
Which were like live video of Muhammad, of his life, and the things they say in the Hadith is horrific. So it says it even says this in the Quran. It says you can marry, consummate and divorce prepubescent girls.
Yeah, that's pretty grim. Yeah.
Like, come on. This is like taking a step too far.
Yeah.
This is like we're talking about killing Muslims and Jews, and then we're also saying we can marry and divorce and consummate prepubescent girls. Until the Hadith says that while the Prophet Muhammad married Aisha, she was still playing with toys.
Right. Yeah.
This is when he consummated the marriage. He took her from a swing and consummated the marriage.
Yeah, Muslims get a lot of stick for that. They do get a lot of abuse for that.
But it's when I look at this, I think, how can I follow the teachings of a man that borderline, according to today's standard, and I mean this with all sincerity, I love Muslim people and I want them to come to Christ, followed a man in today's standard wouldn't be classed as a pedophile. Classed himself as demonically possessed at one point, and called for the execution of anyone that wasn't Muslim.
Was that in the second half of his life, in the the Medina phase, like the later stage?
We have the early records of him throwing away adoption. Yeah. Why did he throw away adoption early on in his life? So he could take his adopted son's married wife.
Right.
So he adopted a young boy, disowned him, and took his wife.
Right.
He abolished adoption so he could take his adopted son's wife. This is not a man of God.
So let me, because obviously we're in agreement on some of these things, and they are like, it's hard to be, it's hard to be absolute. I mean, those things are awful. There's no getting around that. But it's like when we both know that we live in a world that they've managed to create a globe out of a flat earth and gotten all the governments, most of the governments in the world to go along with this deception. It means that at the very top table, Russia, China, America, they're all colluding in some grand deception. It means that World War I and World War II were contrived to exterminate and to genocide, perhaps mostly on mostly on the Europeans. However, obviously Africans have been brought under their own controls and genociding and so on, and other. So it's not to just say, this is a white problem kind of thing. It's not to say that. But I do think that if it's possible that the governments of the world are in collusion, it means that the royal houses were in collusion of controlling the serfs. It means that the Vatican and perhaps the main religious houses were designed to usurp God's creation, to damage and destroy God's creation. If just to finish that point, it's just to say that if you were the evil one looking to get me to fight with you, then you would create a narrative that's pit me against you. I mean, even the word Islam can be broken down into Islam. And that it is maybe the fist that the evildoers have designed in. They've sewn in all of the issues, because I've housed Iraqi refugees, Muslim refugees many years ago. I have great interactions with Muslim men. It's not like I have or women, but not so many, of course, because of their sort of the way they are between men and women. And so I see God in them. I see the creator's spark in them in the same way as I see it in yourself. So I don't demean and diminish, but I can see how we were set to war against the Germans or the Jews or the Russians or whatever, and they're going to do that again. But as Albert Pike wrote to Mazzulli in, what was it, 1871, he wrote that we plan to foment 3 world wars, and the third one will be this war against religion, or within religion. I see that, and I mean, maybe what's been happening in the Middle East since 9/11 and all of that has been a sort of the early days of creating that enmity between my brother and I, and so that they can control us. And so this is why I think, is it possible that it was written by the Vatican in order to foment a break or eventually a schism that causes us to war with God's own children?
And the way I look at this is, and I like what you said there, I see the same spark in them as I see in you. And if I was in the 1970s now and I went to the Manson family and I asked them, what's your opinion on Charles Manson? I love Charles Manson, he's a great guy, he's a prophet, or whatever they're saying, they'd have the same spark as probably every other religious believer would have. And if I went to if I went to any sort of cult leader and went to the people who followed them, they'd all say the same story. And this is why I emphasise on truth. Now the Vatican itself, if we look at the Catholic Church, teaches a different gospel than the Bible. Yeah, the Catholic Church itself didn't want the Bible to be translated in English.
That's right.
See, there was a guy called William Tyndale who was burnt to a stake for translating the Bible from Greek into English.
Right.
Why? Because the Bible itself teaches a completely different gospel than what the Catholic Church teaches.
Right.
All right. So the Vatican itself, why I call it a house of lies, is because it literally is a house of lies. It teaches Mary as a co-mediator. It doesn't say that in the scriptures. It says
Right.
there's one mediator between God and man, and that is Christ Jesus.
Right.
It teaches about a place called purgatory, and you can pay your way out of purgatory. Your
Yes.
family can pay you out.
Yes.
It's just money. It's a great
Yeah.
money scheme.
Yes.
Yeah, this is why the Catholic Church is so rich.
Yeah.
There's a thing called indulgences where you can
That's
pay
right.
for your sin. It's a house of lies.
Yes.
Yeah. Jesus went into the temple and whipped all these people out of the temple for turning God's house into a place of business. This is what the Catholic Church has done. So I believe there's deception upon deception upon deception in the Catholic Church. I like what he said there. If I was the evil one, I would want to make revenge. I'd want people to hate each other. Well, this is why I believe Islam itself is from Satan. If I knew that death has been defeated, I have been defeated, and all of my demons and everyone else has been defeated through what happened on the cross,
Yeah.
I would want to make a way to spike them.
That's
As
right.
Paul says, a thorn in my side.
Yeah.
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 I believe the thorn in the side of the Christian, not logically, because there's no real logic in the Quran. not like ethically, because there's no ethics in the Quran, but violently, a violent thorn, a thorn that wants to kill Christians, wants to destroy Christian nations. I would make Islam.
Yeah, you would design it because we come from love. We come,
Yeah.
our Creator is love.
yeah.
Eternal love and,
Yeah.
and magnificent.
John 3:16 just proves that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we come from love, all of us. So what you have to do is to sweeten the pill. Is you have to kind of bring children up with a idealistic or what seems on the face of it quite a good idea. I mean, I came up through South African apartheid and so on, and I had to do 2 years national service, and I had to go to war, or I went to war in Angola because I believed in the propaganda of communism was coming to overthrow our country.
Yeah.
And of course, we go to war in the late 80s, and then a few years later, they handed over to a sort of communist-leaning government anyway.
Yeah.
So so I think there has to be this usurpation. I have a friend who is born, died in the wool Catholic, right? Every Sunday, blah blah blah, and so he's a good lad.
Yeah.
He's not to knock him,
Yeah.
but if he heard what you were just saying and you and I were saying about the Pope, and he wanted to knock me out. Because he'd be like, "Damn,
I grew up a Catholic.
I'm sure given your Irish roots.
I left Catholicism when I was 14.
Right.
Yeah. And I come away from Catholicism in Lourdes, which is like just below the Vatican.
Right.
And when all you see is deception and lies,
Yeah.
I couldn't follow it anymore. I grew up in a town called Lewis, and in Lewis there's a town hall, Brighton.
Brighton, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, I know.
Outside of the town hall in Lewis, there's a plaque that says, outside of here were 17 Protestant boys burned alive by the Catholic Church. So if I see that, how can I follow a religion like that?
Yeah.
Especially when it doesn't align with the Word of God.
Yeah.
See, there's a doctrine that's been believed since the first century, and it's a beautiful doctrine. The Greek word is sola scriptura, which means the Bible alone. The Catholic Church wants people to rely on the Catholic Church for ideas, wants them to rely on the Catholic Church for truth. It's not the case. We go to the Bible and search God's Word first. Yeah. In God's Word, it speaks about a necessity of being born again, to be regenerated. Ezekiel 36:26 says, I will put within you a new spirit. Your heart of stone I will turn into a heart of flesh. Yeah? What a beautiful message that is.
Yeah.
And again, it can only be accomplished by what? The cross. So, as I said, we have religions that are murdering, that are we have in Luton we have rape gangs, Islamic rape gangs. In the Vatican we have the Catholic Church and all their terrors and all their wrongdoings.
And their serpent room, have you seen that?
Yeah, we look at all this and the pedophilia that's in there.
Yeah.
It's not just Islam. The Catholic Church has it as well. I'm not just picking fun of the Muslims or this. That happens in the Catholic Church. So we have these ideologies. We have these cults coming up, like the Manson family and so forth. We have all these wrongdoings. Through it all, there has been a way out. Through it all, there has been a redemption for man. There has been a redeemer for man, and it's Christ Jesus. So through all the wrongdoings, through all the deception, through all the lies, through all the murder and the bloodshed, there's always been someone with his hand out waiting for somebody to grab him. And pull him
I've
back.
got Christians watching this live feed, and they'll be going, "Man, this guy's on fire!" And you're exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah, but,
you know?
the world needs to hear it. The
Yeah,
world needs to hear the gospel
yeah.
of Jesus Christ, because it's the most important message to ever be given into the world. The resurrection of Jesus Christ was something that shook the very centre of the world and changed humanity forever. And there'll always be people to come against it. There'll always be people to fight against it, to kill against it. But there's one thing I know: my Redeemer lives, and because He lives, my life doesn't end here.
Yeah.
I've got an eternity to go
Absolutely.
home to, and I've got a Bible for you in the van.
Awesome.
What's your
I'm
name
really,
again?
Dave.
Dave, my
What's
name
your-
is Lewis. Dave.
Lewis from Lewis.
Lewis from Lewis, yeah.
So good, the conversation.
Have a walk here. I'll give you this Bible.
All right.
Actually, stay here.
Well, I'll stay here if you don't mind.
I'll
Lewis.
bring
Yeah,
it
if you, yeah. Man, that was a great conversation. Did you enjoy that conversation? Hi, Natalie. This is Leatherhead in Surrey. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Toroidal dialects. Some names I noticed from the Facebook world there. So, hey, Bong. God said to Muhammad, read. I said, time to read. I mean, what Lewis just told me was powerful testimony, you've got to admit, you know. I know I've said in the past, like, if you put your feet together, I didn't want to kind of, you know, continue the conversation too far. You know, he's got that belief, and I'm not knocking that either. But if you put your arms outstretched like this, your feet together, you create the Christian cross, and at the center of that Christian cross is your heart. You know, and heart is the representative of love. You know, and I think, you know, if I'm wrong about needing to accept the Jesus thing, you know, I'll have to pay a price for it.
Alright, here's the Bible and a track. There's the Holy Bible, it's an old one. And here's a track, and my number is here at the bottom, Lewis.
Okay.
So if you've got any questions,
you because I'd like to stay in touch.
yeah, you got any questions
Thank
or
you
anything?
so much.
What are you guys filming?
He's.
I'm on YouTube at the moment, just filming, talking about.
Got a Bible?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like born again?
Yeah, born again.
Oh, wow.
Are you guys born again?
Yes,
Oh,
I
thank
am.
God.
So who are you with today?
By myself, I was just walking through. I was going to get a case for my iPad. Seeing this guy filming, so I thought opportunity to share the gospel.
This is
Oh,
Lewis.
that's amazing.
I'm Dave.
I'm Louise.
Hi,
What
Louise.
church are you about, Louise?
Christ Embassy.
So, do you know what? Funny enough,
Yeah.
where are you guys at?
Well, at the top, you know, the community
I was at
centre.
another little. I was at a church yesterday speaking
Yeah.
to someone. I think he mentioned you guys to me
Yeah.
yesterday.
How old are you?
21.
You're so young.
Yeah.
How did
And you're
you-
so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
He's so knowledgeable. You want to hear
Yeah.
this guy talk? He's
I
phenomenal.
wanna. How did this happen?
Invite him to your
I
church.
have to hear about your story.
How I got saved.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Catholic home,
Yeah.
and never hearing about Jesus Christ
Yeah.
being alive, never hearing about who Jesus was.
Right.
And one year we decided to go to a few different Catholic places. So we went to Fatima,
Yeah.
and then we went to Lourdes. And when I got to Lourdes, there was a woman called Snowdrop McDonough, and she come and witnessed to me. And she said, "Do you want to get saved?" She told me about the Gospels. She told me about John 3 verse 3, John
Yeah.
3:16, Matthew
Yeah.
5, and
Yeah.
she said, "Do you want to get saved?" And I got convicted in my heart, and I said no.
You said no.
I said no, and I
But
went.
you were convicted in your heart.
Yeah, I went home. And I
Oh.
went home, and I couldn't really make sense of it all.
Yeah.
And I looked in the letterbox about a week later, and I had
Yeah.
come a Bible,
Of
which she
course.
sent to me.
Yeah.
I began to read the scriptures, and none of my family were saved. A lot of them were against it, and it gave me life to Jesus at 14-year-old. And for then I couldn't go to church. I couldn't make a way to church, and I started praying. And my only request was, if you can get me Father saved, then I have a way to church. And we were going abroad. We were going to America, and my dad's visa cleared first, so he flew over, and I was flying over a couple of days later. And he rung me, and I think a couple of things went wrong. He said, "Oh, mixed up," he said. And I said, "Dad," you need a piece of Jesus in your life. And he cut me off the phone. And, because of the time difference, he rung me back about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He kept ringing me, and I said, "I'll ring you back in the morning." Rung him back, and he said, "Lewis, give me life to Jesus." He said, "I've never seen nothing like this." I haven't. He said, "It's like 50 years of weight has gone off my back." and
Whoa.
flew over to America, Chicago afterwards, and spoke to him, and he was like, he's a different human being.
Yeah.
Awesome.
My mum got saved shortly afterwards.
Wow.
Thank God my brother's saved now, and
Glory to
my
God.
grandfather got saved.
And you're still going. You're still
Yeah, praise
evangelizing.
God, this is
The fire is in you. I'm so inspired.
has to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We live in a world where millions of people are dying. Where,
Yeah.
as I was speaking to him, we live in a world of bloodshed, deceit.
Yes. We're in the last days.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now is the time where we've got to wake up and get out and spread.
Anyone,
It's
that
amazing.
is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get discouraged as I'm doing it. I'm like, oh, not everyone is receptive to it.
Yeah.
But it's just so nice to see people younger than me still doing it. It's like, I remember why I'm doing this.
Not everyone will accept truth.
No.
And that's why we have millions of different religions. That's why
Yeah.
there's millions of different denominations. Not everyone accepts truth, but it's all about that one.
Yeah.
One person
Yeah.
comes into the kingdom of God for the
Yeah.
words you said,
Yeah.
then it's all worthwhile, isn't it? The one thing I always said, I don't want to go to heaven with no crowns laid at the feet of Jesus. I don't want to go to heaven with four brand new tires, with a brand new motor. I want to go with 4 flat tires, an
Yeah.
engine breaking out where I'm
Yeah.
just working for God.
Yeah.
And if one soul, if I can walk into heaven and I've led one soul to Christ, it's all worthwhile, isn't it? So don't be discouraged when there's people sugaring you off or don't want to speak to you. If one soul gets saved for your evangelism, it's all worthwhile, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, glory to God. Thank
beautiful.
you so much.
That's
That's
beautiful.
amazing. God bless you.
God bless
God bless
you, sister.
God bless
And I
you,
want to give
brother.
you a flyer because why Lewis and I started
Yeah.
talking is because he knows that the Bible is a flat earth book.
Is it?
It is.
I'd be
it
curious
is,
to know
it
more
is, it
about
is,
that.
it
I'll
is.
look into it. It's good.
Yeah.
And even that logo you're wearing is actually an indicator of the electromagnetic universe because the center here, that's
Yeah.
Earth. That's where we live. But these two Tauruses that are interconnecting.
Really?
Yeah. There's so many logos. If you look at the logos of the world and you look at electromagnetics, you can see, bam, there's another logo. Cartier, blah, blah, blah. They're all hiding the truth of our real world.
What? So have you got me number? WhatsApp me.
Yeah.
I will stay in contact.
Yeah.
Have you got a channel?
Yeah.
YouTube, Facebook?
Yeah, it's on the flyer.
It's on the flyer.
It's
I'll,
on
I'll
the
go
flyer.
there. I'll look it up and I'll
And
subscribe.
you can take my business card. Oh, you've got my friend's thing, but you can take my business card, my information.
Can
Yeah.
I give you a book as well? It's
course
just
you
a
can, yeah.
Bible daily devotional.
Thank you
prayer.
very much,
Read it
sister.
in my
Awesome.
English as well.
Thank you.
God bless you. Oh, I
Thank you
haven't
very
given
much.
you one.
That's
I
okay.
need to give you one as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
What could I forget? I'm
What's
so
your name
sorry.
again?
My name's
Louise.
Louise,
It's
yes.
encouraging
Thanks,
to see other
Louise.
Christians
Yeah,
out there.
thank you so much. It's a
Usually
word
the
of
Jehovah's
God
Witnesses
confession.
here and
Yeah.
it's good to see people
Yeah,
faithful.
born again police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely
the
so
Holy
I
Spirit's
say, in the
you.
Lord have I
Yes.
righteousness and strength.
Yeah.
Even to him shall men come, and all that are incensed against him shall be
Have you,
ashamed.
have you said the prayer of salvation?
No.
Well, we're going to work on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to work on that.
We're gonna work
But
on
I
that.
really enjoyed the conversation,
Yeah,
and you should get in touch with Lewis.
Oh,
Get him up
he's
to your
on- I'll
church.
see him soon.
Yeah.
Raptured.
Yeah.
Brother, God bless you, man. Good
God
seeing
bless
you,
you,
man.
man.
Have a-
You too.
You're lucky. God bless.
Thanks so much, Lewis.
That's all right, bro.
Go well. Go with God. Oh man, did you just share that with me, guys? Did you share that with me? Because that was a pretty epic, encounter, really. And it kind of makes a change from all the, oh, you're a bloody idiot, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. Do you know we can't prove we're spinning?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Water's always going to find level. How about that? What an ecstatic encounter. I am chuffed. Oh, you got a heavy load, my man? Mind-blowing, but Earth is not a spinning rock in space. We've been deceived by the governments of the world. Don't trust the government when they tell you anything. Just a little water there. Well, that was a brilliant conversation, and you know, I wonder if there's like a halfway house that I can meet with that Christian that deeply powerful Christian testimony and the idea that we are the master of our own ship and we are the expressed divine produce of a creator. And we are our own, master. I don't know. I can't obviously put hand on heart and say I know absolutely the truth of everything and so on. So, and far be it from me to be someone who becomes a deceiver. Ma'am, Earth is flat, not a spinning rock in space. I've got a new Bible. And I intend to spend a little time with it. In my own quest for, I've had friends, say I'm saved again or I'm born again or all of that, and it's like, dude, you think you live on a rock spinning in space and evolved from apes? They're getting a little bit of a truth bomb there. Dude, have a nice day. Water's always going to find level. We can't prove we're spinning. I don't trust the government. I wouldn't if I were you. Shouldn't zoom in on such. There you go. So yeah, how about that? Eh? That was a wonderful conversation. Make the UK Christian again. That's it's a power instruction book. Alright, Trinities. Nice to see you. And if you want to support me, yes, there's a PayPal. Oh, hi, Mikey Smith. Horizontally opposed in Canada. I was asking you the other day, I don't know if you saw my message from, I think you made a comment in my last video, one of my last videos about something. Oh, yeah, I remember. So I was asking you if you had any other footage or you knew of any other footage of the stars through the moon. The footage that Mikey got one year was phenomenal. He didn't even know he had it, I don't think, until after the fact. Let's see if I can I give you a fly, young lady? So Mikey, if you've got any other links, please send them to me for footage. It's one of those things that, for a variety of reasons, would be useful to have. Guys are being lied to, Earth is flat. Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for stopping by. Andrew and I are doing a 4-day home to the heart course. It's 8 hours total over 4 days. We've got information available on the links. It's coming on the 15th, 17th. 2 weeks from Thursday. Anyway, it's 8 p.m. UK time, so it may not be suitable to people in Canada. Is that Rocky Shepherd? Trust me, sir. Read the Gospel of John. Jehovah's Witnesses need it. It's just my son Zizi wants to say hello to everybody, and Squirrel says hello. And hey, Run Boston Bear JT, I've just had the most powerful conversation, I don't know if you were in it or were listening at that time, with a born-again Christian, just a guy called Lewis, who happens to live near where Nathan lives, just a powerful, powerful testimony of his journey in Christ, actually. So you may find that useful to go back and listen to. Really powerful. I have to say, I've got to keep an open mind about all of this. I've met some beautiful people who are deep Christians, or deep Jesus is the Savior kind of guys, and JT is one of them. And this young man Lewis was a powerful testimony. So want to live in honor, do not want to dishonor God's God's intention, God's plan. So. Research Flat Earth, we've been lied to about who we are and where we live. Water's always going to find level. You can't prove that we've been to space. You have to believe it because it's on TV. This lady, Leslie, or she's full of love and joy, trying to spread the word, and it's a labor of love, actually. Leslie, but I might be off on that. Louise. What is the Purple Heart? This, my son actually did this artwork for me. I was looking for, what I asked him for was a torus. Then I said, because it's an electromagnetic torus, thorax. And what I asked him to do was to put a heart in the middle, was because, you know, this is a journey back to love, actually. Our soul, purpose. And there is obviously the Dave West link. But it's a journey back to our soul, and you know, liberating our soul. I do think that the globe is a soul trap, soul lure system, as I'm sure you've heard other people say. That's not my phrase. Soul lure system. So they're luring the soul, and the soul. I think, you know, we. You know, there is this conversation about, well, is it the pineal gland or is it from the heart? And I do think that it's actually the heart. The heart is the heart is the earth. The earth is the center. It is the place that our Creator designed for us to live. That's all right, It's Louise, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy that was there.
Lewis.
Lewis.
You want his phone number?
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
My
You
mum
should
was
get.
like, why aren't you networking? I didn't know if it was
Yeah.
appropriate, but she said, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
if you
I
don't
won't
mind.
put it on camera
No.
because it's obviously personal, but you can take a photo of it.
Oh, so this is Lewis.
This is him here.
Oh wow. Okay. Wonderful.
Take his number.
Details. Thank you.
And you guys had a great
Yeah.
moment there,
Conversation.
you know.
You're
and he's
awesome.
also, yeah, thank you. He's
Why
also,
is the Earth flat?
Why is the Earth flat?
Yeah.
Because God in Job 42
Yeah.
hammered it out like a stamp, like in wax.
Yeah.
And God set the earth upon pillars, firm and unmoving.
Yeah.
Genesis. God set a firmament.
Yeah.
In Psalms 19:1.
Yeah. So
Set a
firmament is like
firmament
that.
is like a roof, or rakia.
Yeah.
He spread it out like a tent.
Yeah.
There's no tent in the world that's a ball.
Yeah.
All tents are like a, you know, like they could be
Like
this
a-
shape or
but flat on
whatever,
the bottom.
but it's always flat on the bottom. And the waters, God separated the waters from the
Yeah.
waters. Now, when we measure water, we find water to be level. And the earth that we live on
Yeah.
is 70% water.
Yes.
So 70% of our earth is water,
Yes.
level,
Yes.
and then above the water level, you've got hills and
Yeah.
mountains and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. So the great deceiver that runs this world has sought to demean God
Yeah.
by creating this idea that we
Yeah.
evolved from apes, that a big bang,
Yeah.
random happenstance,
Yeah.
and all of this sort of
Yeah.
craziness have happened
Yeah.
in order to create this Goldilocks moment billions of years later in which life comes out of the sea.
Yeah.
And then finally,
Yeah.
no, God created this place and said, here's a home for you,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to put you in the home.
Yeah.
God said, I've separated the waters. I saw the earth was without form and void.
Yeah.
And then on day 4 brings the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
What your science teacher taught you was that the sun comes first,
Yeah.
and then the earth comes later. All of that is a diminution or a demeaning of God's intent.
Yeah.
Now, I read the Bible a lot as a kid, and I said to my preacher, but why is the Bible saying, if the Bible's so smart, why is the Bible saying that the earth is flat and not moving and all of these sorts of things when our science teacher is telling us that, of course, it's
round.
in a solar system and so on.
Yeah.
But what they've done is they've put the sun
Yeah.
in the sky
Yeah.
instead of the Son of God. So
Yeah.
you know, if you follow Jesus,
Yeah.
he's the Son of God.
Yes, he is.
Not
he
the
is.
sun in the sky, but the
Yes.
heliocentric version would say that the sun in the sky is without the sun in the sky, we wouldn't exist.
Yes.
We need the sun in the sky, and that's not true. We need
The Son of
God's
God.
Son.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so it's a hard journey for Christians. I know I've got lots of Christian friends, and in fact, some are
Yeah.
watching the stream now who have stepped out of the globe
Yeah.
heliocentric model
Yeah.
and will absolutely say there's hundreds, if not 200, if not more verses
Yeah.
that affirm
Yeah.
a flat, unmoving earth.
Wow.
There's no verses that say anything about a globe. Yes, look, God looks down on the circle of the earth, but the circle of the M25 going around London doesn't make it a ball.
No, it's flat.
And the idea that gravity, a theory invented by a Freemason, that we can walk underneath the ball and not fall off a ball, and that water's attracting to the ball.
Because if it's round, then some of us would be upside down, right?
Exactly. Right now in Australia or South Africa, people are 90 degrees, are walking according to the globe. They're walking 90 degrees to the perpendicular that we're standing on now. You know,
That's
so
so
if you lay down on the
bizarre.
floor, your feet
That
would be
is
pointing the same
so
way as Africans
bizarre.
on the side of this globe. You
Yeah.
know, I believed it for most of my life. So
That's
it's
so
only the last 10
interesting.
years, and I come out to share this truth with people because I know that stepping through one of the greatest deceptions that Satan ever laid upon us is the way to liberating
Yeah.
your connection to God, to source, to who you truly are, which is why I put on my flyer there,
Yeah.
you realize your sole purpose. Your
Yeah.
sole purpose is set by God and not by these deceivers that we have in our world. I'll give you a spare flyer.
For yourself, okay? That's so
And you-
interesting. I did always wonder about the upside down theory.
Yeah, I know, but when you're small,
Yeah.
you know, you're forced to kind of believe. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're forced to believe that you know, gravity is causing us to stick to a spinning marble, and this marble is spinning at 1,000 miles an
Yeah.
hour, and it's traveling through the universe at like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and yet the stars that God said, I'm going to put lights in the firmament in the sky
Yeah.
to give you signs and seasons.
Yeah.
They've remained exactly fixed like the Sumerians thousands of years ago saw, and like every culture has ever seen. It's like these same star patterns come around year after year after year after year, and yet we're moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Not possible.
Interesting. I
Not
think you might
possible.
have converted me.
Well, you've got to do your own research. Take
Yeah.
a spare one for a
Yeah,
friend.
all right.
Do your own research,
Thank you.
and get hold of Lewis
Yeah.
because he's
Thank
an amazing
you so
young man.
much. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Food for thought.
God be with you. Look at me. I'm like having a little firestorm here. It's awesome. I mean that in the best possible way. You know, here in Leatherhead. Leatherhead. Who knew? You know, the Earth is not a spinning rock in space, and we can prove that water is always going to find level. We cannot live on a marble, and you don't evolve from monkeys. You're not having it. Earth is flat, not a spinning ball in space. Earth is not moving. You can't measure any movement, scientifically or physically. Yes, gentlemen, we've been lied to, indoctrinated from childhood into believing poppycock.
And where are you from?
I'm from Poole in Dorset.
Keep that place, been there, got a t-shirt.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I worked on the Poole Quay when I was a young man in a pub called the Lord Nelson, I think it is, or something like that.
What do you do now? Religious studies?
No. Actually, I was having a really interesting religious discussion just now. But I don't really have a dog in the religious race. I think that we are all equal. I think that we should have no masters. We should have no kings standing on us. We should be master of our own ship.
Maybe you better go tell that to the rest of the fucking world while they're still killing each other.
Yeah, I know, we're at war with each other, but that's what Satan, according to the Bible, people will do, is to set us at war with each other. Whether it be the Muslim, the Jew, the Christian, or the atheist. I used to be an atheist up until 10 years ago.
Don't believe in
Didn't
any
believe
of it.
in any of it. No, I didn't believe in any of it, mate. I was 47.
I don't believe in any of this shit because I've been there, got a t-shirt.
Well, I had a near-death experience in 2015, and when I came back from that, I was like, damn, there's a God after all, and I'm an eternal being. I'm just temporarily in this physical avatar, and once you've finished this time here, you go back to that. You don't have to believe me, but
Well, I don't know
came back to that
how
and
young you
discovered.
are, but I was in the Falklands War when I was 21.
Okay. I was in the Angolan War when I was 19.
Well, that's your fucking problem. That's South Africa, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't get your own shit together.
Yeah.
No.
But who was behind the Angolan War?
Russians.
And the Americans.
Oh, well, yeah.
And the British. I actually went to the tank museum because I was in a tank. I went to the tank museum when I published my book here in Bewley, or not Bewley, you know where I mean, the tank museum here. And I spoke to the curator and he said, yeah, we were watching you guys in 88, 87 when you were in those tank battles. We were keeping an eye on what was going on. There's a phrase that you might have heard before, which is that all wars are bankers' wars.
Yep.
They were created, you've heard it. They were created to get us, I think the World War II was one of the biggest genocides of Europeans in all time. Maybe World War I.
So who do you think's been the biggest war in history?
Genghis Khan?
In the history.
In history? The
Not
biggest
that,
war.
not the Afghan war, not Iraq or Afghanistan, the Korean War. The Korean War ends all fucking wars.
That's 57, is it? 56? Something like that?
57, 55.
55. Right.
So, well, you don't know much of your history, do you?
Yeah.
55 is like
Well, it's not my
55.
history, it's someone else's
It's everybody's
history.
history.
History is a lie agreed upon, Napoleon Bonaparte.
It's the biggest.
But it does get young men, like you at 21, to go to the Falklands and cause war on other people for someone else's agenda. You don't profit from the, the Malvinas, as they call them.
Nobody profited from the Falklands War.
The bankers do. And
Who's interested in the bankers?
if this is true, what we're saying, that the Earth is flat, then what they're doing is they're hiding us from the other continents that are beyond the ice wall. That's why I think that the Falklands War was so important to the empire. And the same is why the Boer War, which was the biggest commitment by the British of armed forces, the Second World War anyway, was the biggest commitment of British armed forces. Why? Because they needed Cape Town, they needed South Africa. And they went in there and they wiped out the Boers, the farmers. They created concentration camps.
World War II. Boer War was the first before the Second World War, or World War One.
Yeah.
What about going? You know, you say you've been around. Where have you been around the world? You've been to Belize?
No.
Maybe South Africa.
I've
Been to
been
South
to Belize.
Africa?
Well, I grew up there, even though I was born in Poole. I grew up in South Africa.
They got De Beers, the big diamond people. You know,
Yeah.
they got fucking loads of thing out there.
Yeah.
They got no infrastructure.
But who's De Beers, though? Who is De Beers?
You don't know who De Beers
No,
are?
I know De Beers.
Beers.
Yeah, I know who De
The
Beers
Queen's
are, and I know who.
Jewelers.
Yeah. I know who Cecil John Rhodes are, and all of these people who create that whole business.
The
I
Crown
know.
Jewels, Christ's sake.
Yeah, and what's it called? The big one that they got,
The scepter.
who's stealing the wealth from the people?
No one's stealing the wealth from the people. It's just South Africa can't put their own house in order.
South Africa has a central bank which is not
They've
its
got
own,
loads
right?
of money. Look at their area. Look at their structure.
Yeah.
Look at their thing.
There
What
should
are they
be no
doing?
poverty
They're
there.
not doing nothing.
Yeah, there should be no poverty there. But when Mandela came to power, he only came to power because he was already a knight in Malta. He was
Yes.
already in the secret societies. He was already working for the man, who De Beers is a representative of. So it's
But
these
what have they done?
corporations.
They can't even put their own electricity in. They're running water.
that's
Pakistan
on-
and India can't.
That's controlled demolition, that is, mate.
Not
That's on
controlled
purpose.
demolition.
Yeah.
They can't be asked to put water in the water, and that's what it's going to be. Trust me.
I think it's by design. I think that to nobble the country, this country, right, is no longer food independent. Agreed?
Yeah, it's totally.
That's by design.
totally
Why are they paying? Why is the government paying farmers not to farm? They are paying farmers, and this
They
is a
should
fact.
be.
They're paying them to leave their farms to go to wild flowers for butterflies, rather than incentivizing them to grow crops and keep cattle. That's what's happening in this country now, and this country is becoming food dependent on external sources. If they cut England off today, within about 3 weeks we'd be starving. If they cut it off from the rest of the world, because we are no longer farming for ourselves, we are no
We're not
longer
gonna farm
self-sufficient.
anyway. Because too many people don't like it. Some of the anti-farmers. My brother's a farmer.
Yeah.
Got 110 acres.
Nice.
What
What does he do with it?
He's got cattle. He's got sheep.
And what's happening, because I spoke to another farmer the other day, cattle farmer, he said, I'm a generational farmer, but it would actually pay me to stop farming. The government are offering me more incentives
Yeah, because there's no
than the
bloody
profit I'm
incentive.
making.
They'd rather spend more money on foreign aid
Yeah.
then look after ourselves.
But you would want people growing food and being self-sufficient. You would want to incentivize young men to go into farming, but they've done the opposite. They've incentivized them to go into the docklands and go and work for the big banks.
I tell you that. It's not our world. I don't know if you're married or not. There's them 2 kids over there.
Yeah. That's why I kind of do it. I have a 7-year-old and some older children, but you know, they're the ones who are going to
I did 18 years in the Army Cadets.
Did you?
I've done nearly 30 years in the Army.
Right.
From the Army Cadets. He served with me from 15, from 13 right up to 18. Do you know who Johnson Bahari is?
Yes, I've shaken his hand.
Yeah, and I've actually cooked for him.
Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. We swapped books, him and I, Johnson Bahari.
Johnson Bahari's a lovely guy.
Yeah, VC.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a lovely man. We've spoken. We've shaken hands at what is it? The Chelsea club, the veterans. You know, the Chelsea pensioners thing. So yeah, he's a VC. I got a MM myself, but
MBE. Christ. That's better than nothing, isn't it? It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
I've only got 8.
Oh right, that's quite a chestful. Right?
Oh, you got 6.
I've got 6 medals. Not in this country.
Wow. But the thing is that you will know
Not
that.
English medal.
It's Australia.
I was stationed in Australia.
Well, yeah, okay. But you will know, and I'm not bitter about this, but the fact is that you will go and give your life for your country, and you might come out of it the other end, but when they spit you out after 20 years of service, they're not interested in you anymore.
Oh no, they're not. No.
You know, I know there are veterans associations and there are little bodies and so on, but actually, you know, they create a life for you in the army, and then when they're done with you, you're expendable. You've given your soul. And that's why I say the term soldier might be soul dyer. You know, you've given your soul for this corrupted system. You know.
End of the day, it's what's come out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I say Ernie Swansea, Molly Ponce.
What do they say?
Ernie Swansea, Molly Ponce.
What is that? What does that mean?
Well, you tell me. It's Latin.
Ah.
Evil to you do evil to me, I do evil to them.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Now, what if I can get you? Let's say I'm a Manchester supporter and you're a Liverpool supporter, and I come to your neighbourhood and I make out like Manchester supporters have come in here and beat up some of your friends and what have you. You're going to step up. You know, you're going to go. You know what? We need to go over there and sort them out, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's called the false flag. Yeah, and the false flag goes
yeah.
back a long time, and you know, it's like put your enemy's flag on your ship, sail into his harbour, into your own harbour, shoot on yourself, and then get the old people to go and stand up against that.
Why is it that we can't fly a flag in our country? Answer me that one.
Well, because we're giving it away. They're wanting to break the spirit. You know, they're wanting to break people's spirits.
At the end of the day, this ain't England anymore.
No.
They don't want to break their spirits. They've already done it.
Yeah. It would seem
The way
like
things
that.
are going on, it's going to get worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
going to get worse.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt about it. It is designed to get worse. It's on purpose. It's not.
Some people think, it ain't going to happen, but ex-forces, we know that it is.
It is going to happen.
These
yes.
old people that go up here now, like Hershey Stockton, they don't look at anything. They don't know what the world's about. Just the next generation are there, and what the teachers teach youngsters today it's not even worth bothering about.
Well, I mean, we don't even know whether we're men or women anymore.
Can't even go there with that.
Yeah. So you lads know about that, right? They are messing with the natural order in so many
You
different
try going
ways.
saying that in the Army Cadets when there's a colonel about.
Yeah.
And you've got teachers that come down and they teach us, well, what do you do? You know, so I left about 3 months ago, and I said to Michael, I said, when Chris came up, didn't he? Chris came up about 30 years. Chris has been in it 37 years. He's a WO2.
Right.
He works for the Army Cadets. He says, I've never seen it like this in all the years that I've been doing it.
Oh.
But I've been in deprived areas anywhere in London, Clapham, Wandsworth Tower, Camden High Street. Been all over the London and Hammersmith. You
People
probably
say
don't.
about Palestine, but until we stationed there, they don't like talking about it.
There's nothing there. There's just nothing there.
What, Palestine? Or you?
They're just fucked up. But mate, You've got to have water, infrastructure. If you've got no infrastructure, you've got none.
Yes.
There's none of this religion crap.
Yeah.
They're sitting there firing bloody great missiles from tanks and Christ knows what. You put any of these kids, any of these youngsters in it, they'd shit themselves. They would.
Yeah.
We don't. When
No.
we go to war, people say, oh, we play for keeps. That's what we train for. And if they ain't good
Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
if they ain't good enough in the job, go.
Yeah.
You don't put the way it's like he said today. I mean, how can you? It was an advert in the. It was 3 months ago. There was a guy down he's in a battle area, simulated battle area, and he's going to prayers in the middle of a battle area. You're not going to do that.
No.
You don't do that. Say, well, hang on, what's that?
Yeah.
His mate's going to get shot.
Life and death right now. Yeah.
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 Well, it is.
Life and death. Leave that for later if that's your thing. But I'm sure you've seen in the Olympics they've even got men who identify as women boxing against women.
What's all that about?
So they're breaking the natural order. They want to break families. They want to break what the natural man is, the warrior man, and they want to break the natural woman down, so as they can create some transhuman
Ain't going to work, mate.
world, you know.
Not going to work.
And where we're no longer able to fend for ourselves or feed ourselves, but we can only rely on the supermarkets to give us their genetically modified organisms. And
There's still farmers about that, farmers that do it, you know, farm markets and all that. Like.
I try and support them where I can, but they will tell me that, you know, it's getting harder and harder for us to produce our stuff because there's so much legislation, there's so much paperwork. We spend a lot of our time doing
So
paperwork.
what's your first name?
Dave.
Stephen. Michael.
Stephen, nice to meet you.
You ever heard of a firm called Cargills?
Cargills, yes.
What are they?
Builders.
Cargills.
Maybe I haven't then.
Right. Name me 2 orange companies in the UK.
In the UK, well, I only know
supermarket.
South African, Outspan, but I can't name them.
Right. Tropicana.
Yeah.
Tropicana is the biggest orange conglomerate in the world. It's owned by Cargills. They do wheat, barley, farm foods. And they're the biggest farm producers in the world.
All right.
Cargills.
You use them, or you try and support them?
Brokers.
Ah.
You never been to the commodities market?
No.
You never worked on the commodities
Never,
market?
no.
That's where we learn all. I did there 2 years there, didn't we? We went to the Silver Vaults in the City of London. Went to the Honourable Artillery Company, City of London.
Yeah.
Chelsea Barracks, Chelsea Hospital. Some of these people haven't even been for drinks in the Tower of London bar. There's no get up and going young kids today. Only the ones that use the brains.
Yeah.
They're good.
That's in fight instead.
You know.
Well, I went to a nice museum, a little museum in Warwick the other day. It was for the soldiers who've fought in the last 150 years.
Oh, I know where you mean. Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah, and they are, older men who are trying to keep the memory of those who've sacrificed so much for the country, for the people. But I think, just like you could say, the war that I was in was misaligned because of the propaganda that I received. Well, that may be true for all of the wars that we fight, because yes, we should be looking after our family, after our community, supporting each other.
We should do, but we don't. We're just sitting there looking after the immigrants.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, that's another big issue of the day, isn't it?
They can't even do that right.
We're not saying it.
There was a. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was in the Daily Mail, wasn't it? Daily Mail yesterday. Can't make a doctor's appointment soon. It's not going to be possible.
No.
It's ridiculous.
No. But the
Yeah,
thing.
do an appointment then.
But
Online.
when you look into what the pharmaceutical industry is it becomes like we are no longer looking to natural food to heal ourselves. We have to take medicines. Most people of a certain age are living only on pharmaceuticals. So I think that even that is controlled. A doctor only gets to be a doctor because he's gone through the programming of a pharmaceutical-led finance.
He's gone through the hoops. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
and so natural doctors have been out, sort of pushed out, and drug doctors, you know, the ones who give you all of these medicinal poisons. Sometimes, I know sometimes it's the only thing that's going to keep you going, but we get more sick people today than we ever had in our time. In your lifetimes, you've gone from 1 in 2 people maybe having, get cancer in their life. Sorry, 1 in 8,000 in your lifetime. To 1 in 2, 1 in 3 people will get cancer nowadays. Why? Because we've been poisoned.
I came back from the Gulf War, I had type 2 diabetes, so yes, actually no cure for it. So this Asian doctor got metformin, give me, and said, oh, no. I said, no. I said, no, don't worry, Dave. I'll take the metformin and Egyptolide, all that. What's that? Well, he came in, I was sitting there. I said, he said to me, you all right? I said, yeah. Look at all this. I said, come on, what do you do with it? There you go, there. You can have the fuckers back. He said, you can't do that. I said, lady, you're only a fucking doctor. So we went through I went through the mental nurse was sitting there. Where went she? She's sitting there, he's just sitting there. I said, what's this? Oh, the mental nurse. Well, there's the fucking door, go look like there's the door, go and fucking use it. He says, you're. I said, what do you know? What do you know about it? What do you know about death? You know nothing about death. You've seen a few people in hospital have died. Go and pick the kids up at Lockerbie, no arms and no legs, lady. Don't tell me anything about that shit. Been there, got a t-shirt.
Were you at Lockerbie?
Yeah, picking the fucking bits up.
Wow. Tragic, that.
So what can these fucking civvies teach you anything?
And what did they do with that Lockerbie? It brings me to mind of like, what did they do with Al McGrahy or whatever his name was, you know?
He went
They
back
put
to
him in
Libya
prison,
and
but
he died.
they let him out.
One person.
He died.
Only one person, yeah.
One person looked after in a big prison.
Yeah.
Bit
And
more
it's,
than that.
it's a grand
45
conspiracy.
that was all together.
It's a grand conspiracy.
145 staff. Looked
You
after one person.
don't get Pan Am 747s falling out, dropping out the fucking sky unless it's engine failure or terrorism.
Or some sort, yeah.
You know they're moaning now that it never happened.
Yeah.
Fucking
No,
never happened.
well, the TV is designed to kind of tell lies to our vision.
Moaning
Tell
about
lies
the
vision.
Israelis. If the Palestinians didn't go on the Israelis' back garden, you wouldn't have all this shit. You wouldn't have any of this shit.
Yeah.
The worst part about it was UN staff opening the gates for
What the UN doing? Sitting on their asses.
There's them opening the
Yeah,
gates
that's
for
the
them.
new world order, right?
They're fucking useless.
They're creating this transhuman, crazy world that we live in, as far as I'm concerned. Agenda 2030 is worth reading to understand how they're going to control us, such that we won't. In 2020, lockdowns will look like child's play by comparison to what they got coming down our way.
You're talking about a lockdown. I worked through the lockdown. I was a dustman
All right.
working for this fucking shit council.
Right. Yeah, no, well, the lockdown is, that was,
It's not me.
it was me, mate.
He's all right.
Earth is flat. Earth is flat.
He's a good lad.
The seas are level. We have one sea level. We can't live on a ball. Even that's made up pseudoscience. This theory of gravity and relativity,
It's going
everybody's
down
on the
fast,
top.
isn't it?
It's going down fast because people do not know who they are, and we've given away mastery to these monsters who we call the United Nations and
The democracy.
democracy.
I'll never forget it. Wasn't it? We went to Canada, wasn't it? After the turn around, they said to me, I want to take a certain bloke up to, what's that place called?
North Churchill.
North Churchill.
Look, she's got an 8-wheel
Right,
drive
so I
McLaren.
turned
Is
around
it
and said, "Where's
HGV?
that?" He said, "You'll soon
HGV.
find it," he said, just keep going. He said, the only thing you'll find is two poles. So when we got there, he said, when you get past there, he said, you go about 200 miles up left, he said, and you'll find where he wants to go. We wanted to go to the North Pole,
Right.
just to take a sample.
Ah.
And when we got there, the bloke turned around and I said to him, I said, what's this for? He said, well, I'm taking a sample. So I said to him, all right, fair enough. Saw some polar bears coming down.
A big old thing.
We was told not to shoot them. They come near us. So we stuck some electric poles around them, our tent. It was about 2 weeks I was there for. And when we came back, we turned around and said to them, after I said, now, what was it like? I said, bloody cold.
Yeah, but it was a dry cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
We went to Afghanistan and we went to the northern Malling Heights, would it? Go up like that, it's like
When he
a mat-
returned then, he
come
said
out.
that the
Fucking-
sea level was, the ice was melting so quick.
Uh-huh.
That's going back in, what year was it?
Uh,
18,
86.
86. So you can tell,
They was talking about the ice caps melting and all
yeah,
of that.
that
Well,
was
you-
undone.
Here's the thing on that, right? I grew up in Durban, South Africa, and I learned to swim at the sea there. And I was back there just a couple of years ago during one of the lockdowns.
It's changed.
It's changed.
Yeah, it may have changed, but the sea level's the same.
Yeah.
We haven't seen an increase in sea level.
You might be interested in.
Thank you, my man.
You want one as well? Just online films. Might convince you about the flat earth or whatever, but you never know.
Do you want to take my flyer?
No, thank you.
All right. Well, it's interesting conversation, gentlemen. I do appreciate your time.
do
You shake your
try.
hand. And Michael, is it?
Yep. Stephen, nice to
Stephen.
meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Nice time.
Yeah, as long as you look
Yeah.
after it.
Yeah.
They won't, they'll abuse it.
Yeah. Oh well, we gotta seek the truth and try and set aside the deceptions that are nobbling mankind. Whatever you believe in, even if you don't think we have a creator. As I said, I had like a near-death experience that took me from an atheist to a knower that we are something much greater.
It's when you get kids out of, so when you get kids murdering, children, adults murdering kids. That's well out of order. Our police have, since 1980s, since Northern Ireland, they've lost it. The police have lost it. No.
Well, because they're having their wings clipped, they're told what to do, right? At the end of the day, just like a soldier would go, well, look, I don't ask questions, I just follow the orders that I've been given. Well, the police are no different. They must follow the orders they've been given.
Some of them, like you say, some of them are thick.
Yeah.
25-year-old copper. They get them carrying. You get them at 10 Downing Street. He's got his got his 9mm Glock, and I was sitting there and saying, "Oh, what was that?" And we were talking like coppers over there, you know. And he said, "What is that?" He said, "I don't know." So I said, "No." Then when me and Mickey were there, took Chelsea picture up. I said, "What do you do?" He said, "He's got a flat plate. Well, he's got a flat square plate and a body at the back." Right. So you think you aim at the head and aim at the chest. Well, nah.
It's a little firecracker thing.
If you want to take the guy out, you shoot him in the fucking kneecaps. He ain't going nowhere.
He's not running, yeah.
You just grab hold of his weapon, so yeah, shoot him straight in the head. They ain't got a fucking leg to stand on.
Literally, yeah.
They haven't.
No,
If they
it's
threw nail bombs,
I've done
if
it.
they threw nail bombs at that riot, they'd be in shit street.
Yeah.
Good petrol bomb, washing up liquid, sugar, quart of petrol, slap it in, cotton wool, rag, black tape, tape it, light it and throw it.
Molotov.
Fucking right.
One
We
way
used
of
to use
using-
rubber bullets in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, if I was bouncing on the floor.
Yeah, we used to use ever-ready batteries.
Oh, really?
Bounce them off
Whoa.
the fucking deck.
Whoa.
Guy come out, he's giving it large ones, go in, grab him, grab the leader, get him in the back. Right, you being a good boy, or you coming quietly, or do you want to do it the easy way or the hard way? But why would I? Beat in the back. Right, now start talking. Right, you don't start talking, we start punching. They soon tell you.
Yeah.
We never even trusted him out there.
Yeah.
I tell you what, there's no way that the RUC in Northern Ireland are going to give up their weapons. Like bollocks, no.
No.
Took them, they can't even sort their own shit out.
Death sentence. Try using the gearbox and clank.
And
There's
they,
two. You might give them a death sentence.
Yeah.
they are. It's like there's one. There's not one. There's no British lorries in the army no more. They're all German manned.
Right.
The only people at specialist vehicles is fire engines, ambulances, and some of the police cars are a joke. You've got people like Serco. Oh, what's Serco? Yeah.
Called Serco Psycho, actually. That's a bit of a mad company, that.
Do you know Mighty?
Yes.
Another shit
Is
company.
that French?
Yeah, another shit company. G4S, another
yeah,
shit company.
yeah.
Do you know Blackwater?
Yes. And Black Rock.
What what
Yeah.
do they do then?
It's a big corporation, and they just hoovering up pretty much all useful companies or controlling.
What do
all
they
useful-
do?
I don't know what they do.
Private security company in Iraq.
All right. Blackwater, yeah.
Blackwater, yeah.
Yeah.
They made a.
Made a fortune.
No, they didn't. They made a right fuck up in Iraq,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Big one.
Big fuck up.
They're paid for afterwards.
But they admitted the weapons of mass destruction 45 minutes thing was a lie, right?
I know that.
They had any fucking shit like that.
No. No. In fact, most of what they had, they got from the Americans or the British anyway, Saddam Hussein.
Most of the kit Saddam Hussein had was Russian.
Right.
T90s,
Yeah. T90s. there.
T64.
Yeah. That's what I fought against. The T64 and the MiGs, we had them over us
Yeah,
a lot of the time.
Volksback big 23s or 24 or 25s, floggers.
Right.
You've got Ukraine.
Here's the thing, when we went into
they're
Angola,
losing.
they said there's a Russian anti-aircraft missile system called SA-1, or I forget, and this is the 80s. And they said no one in the West has ever seen one of these things, and if you can capture one, the Americans will pay for the war, basically. And then I found out afterwards, when I was writing my book, that the 3 that we captured on one day when we destroyed a brigade, they were taken to Israel.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what is going on there? That Israel is so powerful and significant in world politics, in that kind of thing. What's South Africa got to do with Israel?
All right, here's one for you. Who do you reckon is one of the best? Who do you reckon is the best trained or uses chemical warfare? Russia, America, England?
I'd say America.
No,
England?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who's second?
Wow.
Do you know-
Then America.
No, Russia.
Really?
That's the second.
Do you know Porton Down?
Yes.
Yeah. Where is it?
In Ireland.
No, Porton Down.
Uh,
Chemical warfare place.
Ah.
Salisbury Plain.
Oh, okay.
It's out for 10. Sit in the corner. Yeah. When you've been there. What the fuck is you fucking Jake? Is that a fucking NBC suit he's got? Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Porton Down, yeah. So I think that the same is true with these bioweapons. I think that the bioweapons lab are actually being used to develop technology to use against the people.
I've already started it anyway, mate. You
Yeah.
can tell.
Well, it's been a fascinating insight, and you gentlemen have obviously done your time.
You do try, sir.
Much respect.
Excuse me?
Hello,
You're
ma'am.
going to wash this off, are you, when you're finished?
No. The rain will wash it off. It's chalk.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's only chalk.
I know it's only chalk, but...
I'm trying to free people's minds. I'm doing humanity a service, in my view. You obviously don't agree.
I'm sure you think that
and that's
way.
okay, but there's no damage.
Each to their own.
There's no damage.
But it's just silly.
Well, that's your opinion. Guys, this has been an interesting conversation. Thanks for the thumbs up, by the way, and thanks for anyone who's been able to support me today. I appreciate that. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you sharing this conversation. Of course, these gentlemen are a little bit angry. It's kind of understandable. Not as angry as that lady, though, who was... We're going to wash this off. No, not. This is the policeman. Okay, I see you there. Hey, Brian, Steven, Dose of Reality. Nice conversation I had with Brian Stavely a few weeks ago on a channel called London Man. I was at Francois the Farmer. Nice to see you, brother. There's Ryan here. Hello, Ryan. And top of the morning to you. It is morning for you. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Sorry, 2:30 in the afternoon. For me here, I only plan to do a few hours today. JT, run Boston Bear. I went back to the beginning of Louise's conversation with you. The entire encounter was amazing. Absolutely heartwarming. Because it's a shame for me to have to end on that kind of conversation. Because those guys are a little bit despondent. It's the Anahata, the fourth chakra of the heart. It's where we connect to the highest self, spirit of God, through love, through the heart. And actually, I could feel my heart expanding when I was having that conversation with Lewis and Louise. So Gohar looks kind of Jewish. Yeah, no, I mean I don't have a dog in the Jewish thing. In fact, the tribes of Israel, it is my belief that the tribes of Israel are us, the lost tribes of Israel. I think we are Israel. You know, and what the Jewish are, people that call themselves Jewish today, I don't know whether... JT, you might be interested. I did listen to a bit of, quite a bit of actually, most of the man, Witzit gets it, talking to some other guy who I'd never heard of. Who was considering that, the tribes of Israel are us, and it matches with where I'm at, and that the Jewish people, some of them, or some element of them, or something in part of that group is descendants of the Nephilim, fallen, so I mean it's a bitter pill to swallow because I like the idea that we are all equal in God's eyes, but it may be that's just me wanting to be like very optimistic about mankind, and that there was a dark presence here, and that dark presence has somehow usurped all of what we are, and our true heritage as the tribes of Israel, and and that's not to say that there's any, they were coming at it, which is why I said to Lewis, that Jesus may have been a European type looking guy, It doesn't matter to me whether that. I don't need to go to bed tonight thinking, Jesus was a white guy with blue eyes and so on. It doesn't. I don't need that to be true, but it may be true. I don't need it to be true that the synagogue of Satan comes through the line of Israel, Jewish people today. I don't need that to be true, but it may be true. So I keep an open mind on that. But I don't mean to demean or mock or diminish anyone. Take a man as you receive him, and of course I know Jewish people. I've got Jewish friends. My sister's married to a Jewish guy. It's her second marriage, his second marriage. I've had Jewish girlfriends in the past. When I did the DMT, the guy who took me through the DMT is Jewish. We fell out because I wasn't willing to support Israel. Actually, and this flyer has got, as Andrea pointed out, it's a Sanskrit symbol, and we know, like the swastika, for example, is to do with. I forget the star pattern, but you guys all know it. It was an old symbol that was taken and misaligned. It used to be used by other cultures. I saw a recent sort of statue with that on an old statue, an elephant, with a swastika, we call the swastika. but it's really just showing the positions of the star system in the four seasons. So I don't know what the truth is on all of these things. I do keep an open mind. I listen to scholars, smart people talk about these things, and I try to feel it in my heart and be open to all of that. So I don't know where you guys are at. Pterodactyl. It's certainly wonderful. Thank you for that comment. And I don't have my glasses on, so it's hard for me to read all of that. If I'm doing all of the chat, because sometimes I get home and it says there's a lot more chat than you actually respond to, and it's because I don't actually see it all. Reality melted the ice caps of the globes. Lewis, yeah. Oh yeah, Lewis, Turner. Which, yeah, that was just a wonderful conversation. And then earlier on, I had a conversation with a young lady, very young lady, young girl, probably 14 or so. Yeah, she was open-minded, and then two young men who also were willing to hear stuff. So that was nice. I mean, it's not a very busy high street, this, as I'd hoped, this Leatherhead, but I've had some incredible conversations today, and I hope that you've had the pleasure of hearing them. And maybe taken time to just share this out on your feed, because I'm going to end it shortly, but it's been a really powerful 3 hours actually, all things considered. Those two gentlemen at the end there were, let's just say the product of this system, broken in ways, angry, and and actually quite a flavour of race kind of stuff there, which I don't support really. I don't want to get into arguments with them, but I don't support it because I think that we are all the product of this creator, but there is a dark or an evil happening here, and it's becoming more and more apparent, and it's becoming showing its hand. And, some of the Christians I spoke to today said, we're in the last days, or that we're in the sort of end times and so on. And it's hard to disagree with that. The way that things are becoming increasingly perverted. Use that word. Yeah. One guy's looking at me on this wheelchair thing. A bit of a, why are you filming? Yeah, we're not, humanity. Obviously, that doesn't mean because of all this greenness, I'm like, we should live our lives like, gloom and horror story and so on. A big part of our journey in truth is to come to a completed or more wholesome and whole way of being. In our experience here, whatever comes, whenever that day comes, or whenever a time comes, or whatever's in the pipeline, is to find freedom in the heart, find our connection back to our Creator. And I think we share the same Creator, although obviously we all have the same human Father and the same enemy. Gotta go and get a few things to the family, the shop. I'm going the wrong way. So I will, oh, this is a beautiful tree. Look at this tree. Look at this, tree. You can't really see it quite as well, but look at that. Really. Francois says when two or more come together, we can broaden our minds. Yeah. They say 2 or 3 nowadays, isn't that right, Brian? 2 or more. This is what it is. And tomorrow I'm in Speaker's Corner, so from midday UK time. So look out for that, and I'd appreciate it if you would share that. I don't know, Brian said he was the stalwart supporter of the work that I do. I wish that there were more people who are supporting this work, because I think it can encourage others to go out and do similar type things. I know many of us will go around in our little communities and share the word. And I know Brian's patrons at his bar that he works at will get Mandela and all other sorts of trees. I'm sure many of you do that. But I feel like the street activism is a way of breaking the matrix, because I do get control down on those people who are saying stuff that's not palatable to the beasts, try and control us. They are suppressing information from getting out, and we should do our part to. Well, I encourage people to do their part. We don't have to do anything. I encourage people to do their part. So, yeah.
Don't complain that you want to eat.
What are my thoughts on it, Jason? That's what you want. What are my thoughts on the Olympics? I haven't seen a minute of it, to be honest. I have seen 1 or 2 memes. Oh, what did this do on the floor? Oh, this is still on the floor. Did it blow away? It's my card. I must have given it to someone who couldn't even throw it in the bin. What am I talking about? Well, I mean, bread and circuses. I used to be a follower of the Olympics. I thought it was, some women's at their peak of physical ability and something like that. I love it. But I don't participate in the bread and circuses anymore. As I said to someone the other day, I was talking at the end of the I sort of hinted at the gender business, which is I don't know where that's going to be. I think it's going to be worse rather than better. But you see a lot of people today who are mixed up when it comes to gender. It's not even something you're allowed to say have an opinion on, other than go along with it, but I think we're putting in the water and the food and so on is creating this stuff in the media. I even think I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I even think that stuff that the children watch on TV has hidden within it a kind of gender messing kind of programming without us even knowing. You put your child in front of the TV for a few hours thinking they'll do something educational or interesting or entertaining, and yet what's happening is some kind of mix-up of that. I think that's it's all built into the Hollywood. But bread and circuses comes to mind, and so the world should have stopped after 2020. We've got getting is you're miraculously healed after a week. All sorts of things that I think people are just going on with it. We're sort of voting, in this country, just about 6% or 10% of the population voted for Keir Starmer, who is so new with Twitter and Davos and all of that, and was pushing for vaccine passports and so on. And in Europe, there is 3 countries, including Portugal, 3 or 4 countries, currently trialing such a thing. And I imagine that when the passports first came in, the few countries that trialed it eventually became normal. And so, again, no one can do human being, but I don't think that's more extreme controls. And as I said to those guys, I picked up on transhumanism and post-natural humans are what is kind of an arrow pointing at that. So, Brian, let's get together sometime on your channel, mine. Have a little chin there. Let's do that. I'm not getting the greatest of view counts these days for my channel. And I know maybe one day the YouTube thing will become a thing of the past. My work in this fora will move on. We are, obviously, as I said earlier, offering this Home Back to the Heart 4-day course this month, in a few weeks' time. So please check out my links that Andrew will put in the Trinity for more information on that. I'd like to invite you and spend some time chatting about these things, because it is. I used this analogy the other day, which I think was interesting. I was talking to someone in the speakers community, and I said, if you put a 6-year-old child in front of a horror movie, it would be an overwhelm for them, and the trauma that would cause would be devastating. It would be psychology. And so what we've had to go through, aside from our years of indoctrination, in coming to the realization of the nature of this world, is an abuse. And it's a trauma. And we need to, if we're to make this mean something, we need to move through that. Move to equanimity, to harmony. Jason says, hold on a second. I'm going to turn the mic around. Jason says it's satanic. Well, I mean, don't disagree. I don't disagree. And we remember that 2012 was, a predictive programming for 2020. And so whatever, perhaps whatever's gone on in the French thing. Interestingly, a Jewish guy who was the choreographer may also be that is a foretelling. I've heard differing opinions on whether it is all just anti-Christ kind of stuff or anti-human stuff. But I wouldn't argue against the satanic element of it. What you're seeing here is a mirage. Yeah. The talent from all those posh schools. Yeah, Yeah. Thanks, Squirrel. I hope to see you soon, and I hope to continue doing more stuff. And tomorrow, as I said, I'll be at Speaker's Corner, so look out for that. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys there. Yeah. Be well and come to peace. Because this world is messed up and it's enough to make a man angry. But that's also by design. It's like, we've either got you in the sheep going along or the angry, rising against it. Jason says, seems like the basic Freemasonic duality control tactics. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Always a treat. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for stopping in today.